Good morning, beautiful humans. I am Bob Mata. This is Defense Diaries. I am joined by my beautiful and brilliant co-host, Allie. What's up, girl?
Hey, babe. Hey, all.
So today, 9/11, 24 years since that horrifying event occurred. And I'd like everybody to just take a minute today and think about that day. It was a rough day. Allie and I were talking about it last night, and it was one of those days that I'll never forget. I remember everything about that day because it just wasn't the usual for us here in the U.S. being attacked on our own soil. And it was just one of those events that changed a lot of things for us in this country moving forward. So let's take a little bit of time today, think about those we lost, think about the brave firefighters and first responders that went into those buildings, and reflect just a little bit. It's a day for reflection for a lot of reasons. So we are back at it with the Austin Drummond case. If you guys do not know anything about the Austin Drummond case, it's a weird one. It's definitely a weird case. Basically, the thumbnail of it is that back on July 29th of 2025, the bodies of Adriana Williams, age 20, James Matthew Wilson, 21, Courtney Rose, age 38, and Braden Williams, 15, were discovered shot to death on Carrington Road in a little town called Tiptonville, which is in Lake County, Tennessee. Earlier that day, actually later that day, a couple's 7-month-old daughter was found abandoned in a car seat in someone's front yard in Dearrah County, which is approximately 40 miles away. And the significance is that young baby was taken from the scene where all the mayhem had occurred and was brought to safety by
Right.
someone.
So the baby is, so Adriana and James Matthew goes by Matthew, and Matthew were married. That was their baby. Courtney is their mother, and Braden is her brother, Adriana's brother. So from all the evidence that came out at the preliminary hearing, it does appear that Austin Drummond was at the scene, and that Austin Drummond either rescued or spared the baby, and only time will tell. But I'm of the mindset right now that you better convince me otherwise, because it sure as hell sounds like he rescued the baby. The evidence at the preliminary hearing established that a phone that was later established to have been in the possession of Austin Drummond, basically because of where it was traveling and who he spoke to on the phone, left the scene in Matthew and Adriana's car, which had the baby in it. It went to several other places, and eventually the baby was taken in car seat to safety to a stranger's house. A horn was honked, and so that the so that he knew that somebody knew that the baby was actually there. Now, Austin Drummond became suspect numero uno mostly because of his presence at the scene, and then he fled and he absconded. He was on the run for a week. Austin Drummond says he was on the run for a week because he had been working with law enforcement. Earlier that week, he found out that his cover was blown and that given what happened, he was in fear for his own safety, and that's why he ran. And through all of the evidence that they put forward thus far, that's all that it shows. It shows he was at the scene and he left the scene and then he went on the run. It shows that he did clean up the car that he left in, Adriana and Matthew's vehicle. Was that to hide evidence of a crime, or was that just to get his fingerprints off so he's, not implicated for something he didn't do? Only time will tell. But
Yeah.
again, you sure as hell better prove. To me, it seems just as, if not more reasonable, because when Austin Drummond was on the run and the bodies were found around 8 p.m. on the 29th, the family came out with a statement saying that Austin was like family to them. Austin is dating the sister of Courtney. So that's the grandmother. She's 38, grandmother to that baby that was spared and or rescued. She still wants to. She asked at the preliminary hearing to can have the restraining order lifted so that she could have communication with him. She is pregnant with his child. The family said that he was nothing but good to them and the kids, and they would have never in a million years imagined that he would hurt anyone, let alone him. So, and when Bob says it's a weird one, it is a weird one because Austin Drummond called the news station while he was in custody saying, I'm innocent. I didn't do this. I was working with law enforcement. I found out my cover was blown. It was stupid of me to run, but I was worried for my own safety. I thought something bad was going to happen. So that's pretty much the long
Yeah.
and short of it.
And let me wrap up. So, as Ali said, Austin is on the run. Week-long manhunt goes down. He's spotted on surveillance wearing camouflage and carrying a rifle, and was even filmed attempting to enter a building and
Wait,
loitering near a playground. So on
So
August 5th, he was arrested hiding behind a vacant pool in Jackson, Tennessee. And at that point, authorities recovered weapons at the scene. It's unknown whether or not those weapons are any kind of forensic match to the weapons that were used in the
you would
commission of the
expect that
crime.
if they were even of the same caliber of the shells that were found, that they would have mentioned that at the preliminary
100%.
hearing. So I'm
100%.
gonna go with no, unless and until some actual evidence comes forward of yes. And I want to point out that building he was trying to get into was a church. Is that someone trying to do more harm, or is that someone seeking shelter,
Right.
seeking refuge? I mean, the mainstream media, it's like I feel like I am like alone with you, but out there in the world floating around because the mainstream media is just reporting he's an animal, he's on the run, he was trying to break into houses with weapons, he's going to hurt somebody else. I mean,
That's what they do.
this
That's
is
what they do.
alleged, people, alleged.
Wait, are you sitting there acting surprised?
I
That's
don't know,
what
it's
the
just
mainstream media has done since the mainstream media has come into existence.
but it's like
So,
we all watched the same preliminary hearing,
well,
and if you
thank
didn't
God
watch it,
for us.
if you didn't
Thank
watch it,
God
we
for
watched it.
YouTube.
We watched it here, so watch it with us. And no one's talking about the fact that all the evidence shows is that he was at the scene and then, left in the vehicle. And no one's talking about the fact that why did the victims buy the burner phone that he was on? You know,
Why
the
did they buy the burlap that the bodies were covered with?
right,
Like
right.
he didn't buy this stuff. Like the one of the victims was seen. It's known that one of the victims was at the Walmart the night before buying the burner phone, buying the burlap canvas or tarps that the bodies were found under.
And my
It,
understanding is that was the 15-year-old along with someone. I don't know if it was
it,
his.
it's just there are enough facts aside from Austin calling into some reporter at a news station and giving that kind of stunning interview, which when you think about it, babe, like the two of us, if we have a client like that and they're making that call, it it's gonna have you scratching your head in terms of, because he's obviously telling his lawyer, look, you gotta vet this shit, man. Like, what I'm telling you is true. You've got to do the work here. You're my soldier in this. Like, I expect you. Like Austin Drummond was saying in the interviews, he kept saying repeatedly, like,
Fact
vet
checking.
this,
Yeah.
fact check all my information. Please fact check it. Like, I'm not sitting here lying to you. So it's a really strange case. And then when Drummond's captured,
Well,
he
before you
doesn't
get
put up
there,
any fight,
I do
you
just
know?
want to mention one thing, that the only thing that I found suspicious and obviously needs more details, it could be very well connected with what they were doing in a different way, was that Austin rented a vehicle or had a vehicle rented for him the night before this that wasn't taken to the scene. Um, and then you're about to get into the accomplices or accessories after the fact. But the reason we set this for today is because at 9 a.m., one of those accessories is up in court this morning. So we were hoping to live stream that to you. I have reached out to 2 radio stations because many people had this up for tomorrow, to let them know that I confirmed with the clerk that it is up this morning, 9 a.m. So 3 minutes, but all of them are over an hour away, and none of them knew. I actually sent one of them an email late last night. There's also been an officer involved shooting um, this morning in Memphis, so nobody's headed to the courthouse. So we're not going to be able to bring it to you live, but during this live stream, because from my understanding, the charges are going to be dismissed today. And you're hearing that here first. Hasn't even happened yet. The charges are going to get dismissed today. What I don't know is if they're going to be moved to Madison, which is what seems to have happened with the other co-defendants or accessories after the fact. So sorry, babe. Go ahead. Tell us who those people are, why they've been arrested.
Okay. So before I get into that, so Drummond initially is arrested on 4 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, abandonment, and firearm-related charges. Prosecutors have announced that they have every intention on seeking the death penalty in this case. Drummond pled not guilty at his arraignment. And then there were several individuals that were arrested after the fact for being accessories after the fact that the state is claiming in one way or another helped him evade law enforcement, helped him get away, helped him alter and destroy evidence. So Tanaka Brown, age 29, who I believe is supposed to be up today, right, babe?
Yes, and Mermaid Mary RN asks, is there Zoom access to the hearing? The clerk told me no.
So Tanaka Brown, Giovontie Thomas, and Dearrah Sanders have been charged with providing shelter, phones, transportation, and clothing. Brown also faces tampering with evidence charges. Recently, Erik Wise Jr., age 26, and Michelle Ovelis, age 31, were also indicted for similar charges. Now, if you watched our last live, you know that Michelle was in fact the person who rented the vehicle the night before. It was picked up on the 29th, the morning of, and
After
her
the murders.
after the murders. And at that point, they said, look, you were a part of this. So it's interesting in the sense that
And
you
it's
say
he,
that
Tanaka
one thing,
Brown.
huh?
Tanaka Brown's a he. I don't know if you said she.
I did
In
not.
in my mind, I keep thinking of she because of the name, but
No,
he's
I've seen pictures of them.
oh,
I did not say she. As far as the rental car being suspicious, I find it equally interesting that that's not the car that he was in for the 7 days. Like, that car got returned to the rental. So the rental place. So that's strange to me. It's one thing to have the car rented and you're using it.
Well,
Like, if you're going in,
but what if they're looking for it, so you don't want it? They've got
how would they be? They'd more likely be looking for his Audi, not
yeah.
not a rental car. At that point in time, they wouldn't be knowing that he had rented a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
And
if
Sleuthy says the rental car might have had a tracker.
it could have, but either way, I I'm lost as to why the vehicle was rented at all, because he didn't u point being, if he had planned to do this, like, if this was his thing, he had gotten up bright and early and decided, "I'm gonna lure all these people that I care about in one form or fashion, and then I'm gonna kill them all, and then I'm gonna run." Like, my biggest problem with this is, what the hell's the motive here? This guy just got out.
Right.
Like,
Well,
what is his motive for killing these 4? And I'm talking about anything that wouldn't be considered justified, because if something happened that morning wherein these folks were, this also came out during the preliminary hearing, they were they were doing exactly what he was doing, informing on. Like, they were smuggling things into the prison. Like, they were known to have been doing that.
right, so could
If
they
he
have found out and it was self-defense?
Well,
Possible.
yeah,
Or could it have been that there was another shooter there and he was one of the intended victims?
right.
Equally possible.
I mean, it's there's a lot of things that could have happened there that day. You know, it's like I was talking about it. It really kind of smells a lot like that opening scene of No Country for Old Men, where they're kind of out in this remote area. Shit goes down. When the cops end up getting there, there's, a bunch of dead people, and it was apparent that some cash and drugs were taken. So who knows what happened? Whatever the case may be, we are not jumping to conclusions like the mainstream media is. Instead, we're going to wait like we always do and see how this thing plays out. So let's get rolling on it. I mean, do you have? So
Yeah,
we
so I
we've
just
got
wanted to say, so Sleuthy asks, could they have found out he was an informant and we gonna tell? So if that's the case, somebody says we're going to tell, well, that's not a justifiable homicide. Now, if
no,
someone pulls a gun on you, and all peoples pull a gun on you and try to shoot you, I just can't imagine that's the case, that 4 people pulled a firearm on him and he had to kill them all. Um, but we won't know until we start to hear his side. And then it's funny because I'm getting updates um about Tanaka Brown's hearing, but it still says that it's tomorrow, which again I confirmed that it's this morning with the clerk. Um so here's what we have. Yesterday, the other um the other accessories after the fact were had their arraignment in Madison County. So all the charges against them in Lake County um were also dismissed. Sorry, I was trying to see if they were sending a real update because I keep getting message after message. Um all right, so the people charged so far include Giovontie Thomas, who's got 2 counts after the fact, and he was on the phone with Drummond as he left the crime scene at 7:24. Um, Deandra Sanders has 2 counts of accessory after the fact. Michelle Ovelis, oh, that's who rented the car, right? Michelle Ovelis, so it is a girl. Has 2 counts for accessory after the fact.
you were talking about Tanaka not being a girl. Michelle is
I know,
clearly a
right.
woman.
That's
I got all that right. You don't
I
need
know
to
you did. It was my own mind that I was thinking that Tanaka rented
you
the
don't have
car
to
and it's
fact check me
Michelle.
on that, babe.
I didn't know if I had said it. and Erik Wise. So we've got that full hearing, but what we're going to do first is just pull up the news reports about it, just to get the overall gist, the way the media is reporting. And actually, so don't let me forget, because I want to go over the discrepancies in the reporting since Austin Drummond's preliminary hearing. And you've got this station that he called into that much of the public is looking to for fair and accurate reporting. However, they keep misreporting things, and you can see a lot of bias, in the reporting. So since I've brought that up, I'm just actually going to change gears and start with that. We're going to play both clips.
Oh, Holly is probably panicking. Member for 4 months. Happy 21st anniversary to my amazing hubby, Scott. Happy anniversary, y'all. 21 years. Proud of y'all. It's a heck of a run. It's a good run.
Congratulations.
And you still think your hubby's amazing. So that's wonderful. That helps. It helps when you actually really, really enjoy spending time with your husband and or wife. It really makes it much, much more enjoyable.
Yes, it does. Happy anniversary.
All right. Speaking of which, I'm going to grab you a drink.
Oh, you're the best.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is just play the first two. We're going to play two clips of coverage by Memphis 15, but this is coming up as News Channel 5, but I think it's still Memphis 13's coverage. I don't know. We're going to play both of them and see how they report two different things in the same broadcast. Here's the short version that we're going to play first. It's 2 minutes. Oops. And while it's on, I'm going to run up and grab my notes, actually. Or maybe I should wait till Bob gets back. We'll see. We'll see.
Accused mass murderer charged in the shooting deaths of 4 people is speaking out in his own defense. This is the first time we've heard from Austin Drummond. This after we spoke with him exclusively from his jail cell where he's being held in Obion County, Tennessee. Now, Drummond, of course, we all followed this story, was arrested on August 5th for quadruple murder over in Lake County. He was on the run for nearly a week, making national news and terrorizing communities in the northwest part of the state. Drummond right now locked up without bond, and prosecutors say they will be seeking the death penalty. But he says he did not kill the 4 victims. Drummond confirmed he did become a member of the Vice Lord Gang during a prior prison stint. Once he got out, he said he was approached by prosecutors and then became a confidential informant for months, assisting authorities, including the FBI, undercover to help crack down on drug smuggling into jails and prisons, helping to arrest dealers, crooked cops, and gang member leadership. Then in recent weeks, in late July, he says he was notified that his cover was blown. And then the 4 people were murdered and he ran.
But they found out I was an informant, and I didn't know what I did. I was afraid because I know bad things happened, and I was afraid that because I was an informant, things would go wrong. Things would happen to me.
Now, Drummond admits he did wrong by running, but he said he was simply scared. Now, he says he is innocent and had no reason to kill the 4 individuals, all of whom he said he considered to be family. Now, I did ask him, if not him, well, who did kill the 4 victims? I also asked him to explain the role the baby that was found left in that car seat alive in Dearrah County played. Now, Drummond said at this point, he's not really ready to answer any of those questions, but we are scheduled to talk again. We'll see what he says. Definitely he knows more. Whether or not you believe anything he says is a complete other matter. And I should say, I did speak with the district attorney who said that he is well aware of our conversation with Drummond. It is now recorded. And he said that is now part of the criminal case file. I'm going to have much more on this coming up at 6:30.
Say, once you talk, it's public record now. So this
everything's
could be used in
recorded.
court, right? And I guess that would be my question is, okay, so if he's truly an informant, and not only that, but like if he's an informant, why not go to authorities right away? I get he said he's scared, but it's like you would think he would seek some protection if what he's saying is true.
Fair question. Okay. We'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, we will. All right.
So in their other reporting, and I don't know if I should just, yes, thanks, babe, play it for you. They say that he just found out that day. And I think there might be some other discrepancies. So let's just listen to it. Whoops.
I'm not an innocent man, but I'm not guilty of what they charged me with.
He is accused of murdering 4 people, but in an exclusive interview, Austin Drummond says he's innocent. Good evening. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Carrie Sharp. Drummond spoke to News Channel 5 from jail, saying he did not commit the crimes that he is charged with. Those crimes, the shocking murders of 4 family members, Adriana Williams, James Wilson, Courtney Rose, and Braden Williams. They were all found dead in Lake County last month. Drummond was named as the suspect and caught about a week later in Jackson.
As Nick Barris tells us, Drummond claims to have been working as a confidential informant.
Right. So I don't know why I said Memphis 13. It was always News Channel 5. Memphis 13 is the station that's handling the coverage with the courthouse. But all right, let's go.
For law enforcement.
Austin Drummond is locked up without bond in the Obion County Jail. He's charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. A source gave him my cell phone number, and he called us to talk about his case.
I'm innocent of what I'm charged with, yes, sir. I'm not an innocent man, but I'm not guilty of what they charged me with.
Of course, you would expect a man potentially facing the death penalty to say that.
I offered to take a polygraph.
The 28-year-old Drummond admits to a long criminal record dating back to his teenage years and was a one-time member of the Vice Lords gang. But he says he did not kill Adriana Williams, Braden Williams, Matthew James Wilson, or Courtney Rose, whose bodies were all found in Lake County on July 29th.
I had no reason to hurt these people. They were my girlfriend's family who had became my family. I took Adriana to the hospital to have her baby. I helped teach Braden to drive. Matthew was like a little brother to me, man.
Drummond was on the run for several days after the murders. Locals in Northwest Tennessee feared a killer was on the loose, and it made national headlines. If Drummond didn't murder the 4 victims, then why did he run?
I did not handle the situation right by running, but I was afraid.
And here's why. Drummond says after another arrest earlier this year, he cut a deal with the Lake County District Attorney, FBI, and ATF to work as a confidential informant.
During my time working for them, I helped uncover drug dealers selling multiple kilos at a time of cocaine, also drug traffickers delivering pounds of meth. We identified 30 law enforcement and correctional personnel and tapped Vice Lord leadership phones.
Drummond says he learned that his cover had been blown the day of the killings, and that is why he ran.
I was afraid because I knew bad things happened. And I was afraid that because I was an informant, things would go wrong. Things would happen to me.
We did ask the district attorney about Drummond's claim that he was working as a confidential informant. The DA said he could not comment at this time. We should learn much more about the case against Drummond at a preliminary hearing that's scheduled for early September. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
So, the facts are important. One time they report it was earlier that week. One time they report it was just that day. And the other thing is, everyone's reporting that Drummond admitted he was at the crime scene and admitted that he dropped the baby off. That there's nothing I have heard where he ever admits that. Now, I say, from what I learned at the preliminary hearing, that the evidence does suggest that, based on the fact that he was on a burner cell that was bought by the victims, calling someone on the phone, says they were on the phone with him and then picked him up at this Bikini Bottom, where they later found Matthew and Adriana's truck at that Bikini Bottom. And then they tracked that number to the area where the baby was dropped off. But so this Nick Barris, I think a lot of people are looking to him for fair reporting, for the facts on this case, because he did get that scoop, with the phone call with Drummond. But after the preliminary hearing, he put up a bunch of stuff, a post that didn't, I don't think, fairly and accurately reported what we heard at the preliminary hearing. They talked about evidence that that he lured the victims.
Lured.
Right, he lured the victims to the crime scene, but I'm just hold on. So, but when I re-listened to the coverage, and yes, the witness, one of the law enforcement witnesses, said, well, we were acting on the assumption, because they all arrived at different times, they didn't arrive in the same vehicle, that whoever did this lured them there. So we went to their cell phones and we looked at their cell phone history. But there was absolutely, positively, without a doubt, there was no evidence on those devices that phone number or Austin did anything to lure them there. And again, when you're thinking reasonably and you're not looking at things through a window of this is the guy, you think about the fact that very phone that they tracked him with was bought by the victims. He left in one of the victims' car that also had their personal cell phone in it. So that phone could have been in the car, and that's how he gets his hands, that's how he gets his hands on it. But there's nothing to suggest that he lured them out. Now, the other thing that I just can't understand, and Bob, you and I have talked about this off air, sorry, I'm trying to see if we've got an update on, if that's what they were texting me about, is the vehicles. So at the preliminary hearing, they show the vehicles. Now, let me see if I can pull them up for you. I took a little
Wait,
video of it.
Sleuthy did an amazing.
Oh,
graphic.
yeah, let's start with Sleuthy's graphic. Can you pull that up while then I'm going to...
Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to go straight to Twitter, the Twitter machine. Okay. She's so good. She's so good. All right. Let me pull this little puppy up. Okay. All right. Our girl Sleuthy Goosey put this nice little demonstrative together for us. So you can see the late 80s Ford F-150. If you guys are having a tougher time reading that, I'll try to blow it up for you a bit here. So that's Matthew Wilson's vehicle, eventually found in a ravine in Bikini Bottoms. We then see Austin Drummond's vehicle. It looks like, I know it's an Audi, and it looks maybe like an A3, smaller type Audi, which, as far as we know, was not used at all. Like, I don't, babe, do you know, is that what he absconded in? Is that what he...
No, they said that he dropped that vehicle off at his girlfriend's, I think, or maybe his parents. I don't remember.
Then we have it is an A3. It says it right above it. I was acting like a real smart guy, and I didn't see that she had it right above it. And then we've got the black Dodge Charger, which was a vehicle driven by Braden Williams.
So I guess 15-year-olds can drive in Tennessee.
It's free for all. It's free for all. And then a white Chevy Traverse, a little bit of a mom van, soccer mom van there.
That's
That
the grandmother of the child and the sister of Austin Drummond's girlfriend who is pregnant.
Courtney Rose, right.
Yes.
And then there is the silver Nissan Rogue rental, which was rented.
No. Yes. Sorry. Jeez.
Wow,
Yeah.
Darren. It's the second time.
I got a lot of facts in my mind right now.
Well, what, like, trust me.
I can trust
up.
Sleuthy as well.
Yeah, you could definitely trust Sleuthy.
I know, it's just
rented by Michelle Ovelis on Austin Drummond's behalf. At least that's her story. From Enterprise the day before the murders on 7/28/25. And again, that was picked up. So it was reserved on the 28th and then picked up after the homicides took place on the 29th.
around
It's
1 o'clock.
strange to me. Like, I cannot for the life of me figure out why that was done.
I mean, maybe he was going to go on the run after whatever they were supposed to do there because his cover was blown. I mean, I don't know. Or maybe they were going to use the car for some other aspect of something else they were going to do after whatever was going to transpire at that little
It's weird
park area.
Weird.
But here's the thing before I forget. So we're going to circle back to this vehicle. Now I already forgot. Oh, okay. So the F-150, the black Charger, and the the black Charger, the white Chevy Traverse, and the Nissan Rogue were all spotted by a park ranger around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They said that the Charger's trunk was open when he drove by. The silver Nissan was there. He circled back in 2 to 3 minutes, and the trunk was down, and the Nissan was gone. But as you can see in the photo that Sleuthy put together, that Nissan is silver as the day is long. But at the preliminary hearing, and I maybe you guys have an idea, I don't know what the point of this is, but this is what the police pull up to say is the silver Nissan heading back towards the crime scene that afternoon, long after the red rums. I can't find the screen.
Sleuthy said she sent you 2 screenshots.
I have,
from
but I've got videos that I took. Are you guys seeing this video screen or are you seeing my text stream?
Text stream.
All right, well, we don't want that.
Hey, okay. Allison.
Wow. You guys were getting a real behind the curtain look there. That's what Allie's up to.
Let me try this. Whoops. I can't. Oh, there we go. It's like this new layout gets.
Yeah, you need the 2 screens, bro. That's what you need. Yeah. She always makes fun of me.
Okay.
I'm looking over here all the time.
All right. So let's go. Let's go. And I've zoomed in on it, so it's a little blurry.
I mean, that looks white.
White is all white.
Yeah, I mean, that looks white. So, I mean, it is white. There's no,
right.
is it the sun hitting it in a certain way? Is the color on the camera off? Because it seems to show other colors of.
There's also no luggage rack. Okay. And I'm not so sure that that's even really a license plate. Okay. That's not some kind of vanity thing or I don't know what, but there's no luggage rack. Why? What is the upside? I don't know that they needed this to be the vehicle. I can't come up with why they're lying about this vehicle and why they would put two different cars up to say it's the same car.
Yeah, Sleuthy says that there's a silver truck there for comparison. Just so we can rule out that it's something with the camera, that it's some kind of optical illusion.
That there's no luggage rack.
Yeah, that it's clearly not the same vehicle.
Right. Right. So I don't get why. And I've got a bunch of other pictures, and yeah, Mandy sent me screenshots. I had taken a bunch. So, and then there was a couple other notes that I took. What, you're laughing at me?
No, I was laughing at Travis, which I guess if I'm going to really pull that little comment apart, I think ultimately it has to do with your tech wizardry.
Oh yeah.
For a change, it's not me. So, that's good. It's good. It's usually me.
So I'm going to see if I can get my hands on the exhibits, so that so that I can see what pictures they put in, where they said you can see the front license plate, you can see that the car is dirty, because they're looking at a white car versus a silver. They're looking at two different cars telling us all this shit. And then I went back again, like I said, the theory that they were lured there. And all it says is that at 6:38, that burner phone number shows up on the victim's phone with the last call at 7:01. And none of the victims answered or made a call after that. And then I have Allie note. There is no evidence that Drummond had that phone at 6:38 a.m. And if he did, it was clearly planned beforehand for him to have it again, since the victims are the ones that got it, which just would go to show that they were doing something together in that location. The geolocator for the phone, they only talk about it being geolocated at 7:24. Well, why didn't they tell us where it was geolocated when it made a phone call at 6:38 in the morning? Because it would have had it in one of those vehicles driving right past the crime scene on the way to the crime scene, just like they showed before. So it would have completely went against the statement that they put on evidence that he lured them there. And again, all they said is we were operating on the assumption that he was lured. And then everything that they put in showed that they were not lured there by Austin Drummond. Yeah. I have another note.
Regarding what?
At 4:22, he's at his parents', they said, which, I'm assuming they already knew from, law enforcement talking to the parents. Yeah, so I just don't know why I guess I don't want to say I don't know why. I just think that it's important, since the public is looking to this Barris for reporting on this, that he does fair, unbiased reporting. Don't report that they put on evidence that he lured them there. Get your facts straight. Was it the day of? Was it the week before? And if you realize you stated it wrong one time, just take down the incorrect reporting of it and leave up the correct reporting of it. Also, they didn't play, they took, certain clips from, as you can tell from the newscast. You don't even have the full statement. The full statement there.
See, here's what the problem is with mainstream media, and in particular individual reporters, is that they develop relationships with cops, they develop relationships with prosecutors in terms of getting leads because they consider them sources. So that's where you have this conflict that exists with reporters that in my estimation, have basically sold their soul to the devil in the sense that we get very skewed reporting that typically happens to be very state-sided. Whatever they're getting fed by the cops and the prosecutors is what they're reporting. So, any hopes of a reporter saying, okay, you know what? I'm gonna burn the bridges of my sources, and I'm gonna report this in a way that's true and accurate because I've seen inconsistencies in what they're telling me with my own two eyes and not changing that. I mean, because when you look at everything in terms of how they reported this thing, like you said, you hear all of the negative, horrible things that Austin had done when he was a 16-year-old kid with this.
Yeah, and they make it they say he's a lifetime criminal, he's a hardened criminal. They didn't charge his attempted murder for the fight in the prison until after he was released from prison, a full year after it happened.
Yeah, and frankly, this armed robbery of a gas station was when he's 16 years old. Like
I
this
actually have that.
This
wanna
is
see
a
it?
kid. Yeah, I mean, why not? Since we're not going to be able to watch what we were hoping to be able to watch
Well, we
today.
can still watch the other, the arraignment of the other 4. We still have that. That's pretty
Yeah,
long
good.
too.
So, but what I was saying is that, the way that they portray these people when they get arrested in the news is that they're getting everybody into that mindset. Oh, this dude's a bad dude. This guy, he fits the bill. So obviously they got the right guy, and then they're talking. But again, like if he was a client that we had at 16 years old and we start getting the facts, because on its face, when you hear armed robbery of a gas station, you're like, holy shit, that's some pretty serious shit for a 16-year-old kid to be getting into. And then when you start to hear more facts about it, that he went in there with a pellet gun, that obviously no one was harmed, that at least he claims that he was so high on Xanax that he doesn't have any recollection that he was even there. You kind of see that he was just a kid that was doing some really stupid shit, that was using, and I don't know if it was limited to Xanax or if it was other shit. And this is one of those kids where if Allie and I are repping him, we're trying to get him into treatment as opposed to getting a 10-year prison sentence, because that sets the path for him for the rest of his life. I mean, you're going in and they charge him as an adult, right? I mean, he
Yeah,
went in as an adult.
and in the recording that we another recording that we heard of him where he's speaking a lot longer than what they played on that on the newscast. He says that they had told him that they would charge him as a juvenile if he provided assistance, and he provided assistance even back then. But yeah, they charged him obviously as an adult.
And then they throw out this shit with that he's, part of a gang.
Right. That's what I wanted to ask you. Like the mainstream media is acting like, and look, I don't know, is the prison here have a very, small black population? They're making it sound like that only that's like only black members of that gang, that it's like super unusual for a white guy to do. He must be the worst of the worst if he's been accepted into this gang. I mean,
Right.
I don't know that.
I mean, well, he denies that he was a member of the gang. Like he in that, I think in that longer call, like he uncategorically denies being a member of that gang. Now, when you're in prison, that is, I mean, you form relationships with people that you believe and hope will help keep you safe in there. So, I mean, is it beyond the scope of reason to think that may have happened? No, I suppose it's not. But as you said, in terms
Yeah, I
of,
think he might have admitted he was, while in prison,
I don't.
associated with the gang. I'll have to go back and listen to it.
I might be wrong, but
Sleuthy says that dude said he admitted to being in the gang. So I'll have to listen to the full recording. But here is the recording of the
Wait,
video.
no. She said, "Who's that dude? Are you talking about
The
Barrett?"
news, yeah.
Yeah. Well, unless I
And
hear it
Mistress G
from
says white vice lords exist. It's more based on proximity. I didn't know. I definitely know non-white vice lords here. You've got Hispanic vice lords,
yeah, more Latin kings though.
right?
A lot more Latin kings than vice lords
Uh,
in terms of being Hispanic and being in a gang. It's typically vice lords or Latin kings. Yeah, no, but the point is that anytime we see these types of arrests, they're always trying to, and I'm talking about the mainstream media, paint the worst picture possible because law enforcement and prosecutors want people feeling like, oh, we got the right guy here, that this guy, so they're naturally always going to be putting out as much negative as they can about the individual. And I just, do we need that? Can't we just leave it to the facts of the case? Do we need to? It's already tough in this country to get people to kind of buy into this concept of a presumption of innocence, and the media is not doing anything in terms of helping that become the norm. And I say that because it's true. It's even on our channel, the amount of people that I've seen say, "Oh, well, you completely changed my mind on how I look at cases." Well, good. That's our mission here. Our mission is to get you to take a step back, take a breath, use critical thinking skills, look at things for what they are at the time that you're seeing them, understand that you're merely getting a story from the government when an arrest is made, and you have to wait. You simply have to wait until all the facts come out. And there's a lot of really, really confounding facts that are coming out about this case. There is something, like, I think about this case a lot in terms of what may have gone down that morning. Based on what we know, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out some kind of deal was going on, whether they were going to drone in drugs to the prison that morning. Like, I think we talked about it a bit when we were discussing things during the preliminary hearing on our last live about Drummond. Clearly everybody was in motion early morning. Like, they were seen on the video initially driving as early as 6:30 in the morning. So we know that one of the victims is at Walmart purchasing a burner phone, getting these burlap tarps. Things were being put in motion the night before, so that it's clear to me that something was going down that wasn't related to these four people being killed initially, that something else was happening. So, when I start thinking about that, and you factor in Austin Drummond's statements that he's an informant that was made, he's an asset that has been made. It, it's we've been in the game long enough to know that cartels have their fingers in nearly every state in the union. They've got people that work for, I mean, the amount of clients that we had that were one way or another affiliated and or work directly for the cartels, it's pretty stunning. And we're in Chicago. I mean, they cartels need boots on they need soldiers, they need boots on the ground everywhere that they're distributing. And if you're under the impression that cartels aren't going to be able to operate in the United States beyond getting the drugs in, then you're not thinking about it fully, because they have to get their money. They like that when the drugs are sold, depending on what the deal is, if drugs are paid for all up front, if they're done on somewhat of a consignment deal, it's just there's a lot of things that could have happened here, and depending on who he's snitching on, whether it's local folks who aren't about to have their lives blown up, if it's the people that he cared about that had made him, and then something went terribly wrong with them, because another fact that we learned during the preliminary hearing was the fact that 3 of the victims were shot once in the head, and that Matthew Wilson was shot 11 times. And that's when we saw Matthew Wilson, I'm assuming somebody from his family, get real upset. They had to leave the courtroom. But that tells you a lot about what was going on with Matt. Matt was obviously trying to stay alive. So whatever's going on
Save his
there,
wife and baby.
yeah,
Fight back, right.
whatever the case is, he was doing a lot of things to try to stay alive, because otherwise he would have been shot in the same fashion that everybody else was, a headshot one time. And there's just so many different things that have me absolutely positively waiting till we find out what's what. And the thing that scares me about a case like this from Drummond's perspective is whether or not the government is going to be forthright in what they turn over. Because if what he's saying is true and it compromises certain agencies, I don't know that I trust the government to turn over what they need to turn over. You would think that Austin has a phone. You would think that they got his phone. You would think that if he was in fact an asset, that he had a handler. You would think that you're going to be able to go through his phone if you're the government and you don't know, if you're the right hand, you don't know what the left hand is doing, and you're going to be able to corroborate some of these things he's saying, because I'm assuming his handler would be communicating with him over a period of time, whether
sure.
that's done
And
through, an encrypted app. I don't know, whether that's done, but I will say this, in terms of Drummond doing his time, when they showed a picture of his cell, and they made sure to bring it up. He had all kinds of contraband in his shell. He had in his cell, he had a cell phone, a gaming system. He had a streaming device for his TV. He had made connections to the point where
so
he
that
had a lot
was
of creature comforts that
he wasn't allowed to have those things. Other people didn't have them.
booze and handheld video games and
Well,
streaming devices.
booze, yeah, but I didn't know about.
I don't
mean,
think it sounds kind of like, when the mob guys get in there, and they all put them in one big thing and they have their own little place where they can cook. And he seemed to have some creature comforts that are not the norm. So my point being is that I think that Austin was pretty street smart, pretty savvy. And he got that way through the course of the 10 years in, kind of navigating as a young teenage boy when he goes in and keeping himself safe for a decade in there and kind of learning the game, and probably developed a lot of relationships. Point being that when he gets out in 2024, we're talking about a street smart kid who I would imagine, if he is in
or
fact
prison
an
smart. Yeah.
asset, that he's going to be smart enough to keep screen grabs, even if they're using an encrypted one of the encrypted apps wherein, like, you have Signal where your messages disappear. You can have a setting that they disappear upon being read. They can disappear within 30 seconds. You have a setting as to when they'll automatically blow up and disappear. If you're Austin Drummond and you're
I've been burned by them once.
But just having the proof that it was actually happening in the event that some shit does go down someday, I would think that those kind of things would exist somewhere in his phone. So we'll
Or
see.
even that he gets credit for them since they promised him stuff the first time around they didn't. So before we move on to the video, I just want to pull up. I was looking for this. This was Nick Barris's post after the preliminary hearing, and he says prosecutors called police and FBI agent who explained how Drummond became the prime suspect in the killing. Basic and impressive investigation work by tracking a cell phone signal. They established that Drummond contacted the victims before the murders to lure them out. No, they did not. Not even a hint. Nothing remotely like that. He also says that they established he was at the crime scene. I would say they established that at some point in time, he left in a vehicle that was at that crime scene. I mean, that's my opinion of the evidence so far. I can't imagine anything else based on what they presented, because you have these people who say they were on the phone call with him. Like, you have the phone, the burner phone, making a phone call to Giovontie Thomas, and Giovontie Thomas says, I was talking to Austin Drummond. And that was at 7:24. And they have that vehicle moving in tandem with Matthew's F-150. So to me, they did establish that. He alone later left, going to his parents' home and to a motel where he lived. He says the license plate readers also tracked him. That made for probable cause. But Drummond's attorney argued that no evidence was presented that he fired any weapons or killed anybody. True, but there was a lot more than that. For example, like we were discussing, who purchased the phone, and that someone else could have had the phone the FBI tracked. And I don't know if that was necessarily the argument that he was making, but okay. The DA will, of course, need more evidence at trial, and I'm sure he has it. What? Is this supposed to be independent reporting by someone who's looking at both sides? He says no sense tipping his hand at what was a slam dunk preliminary hearing to bind the case over. No mention was made of Drummond's claim he was a confidential informant. And there really is no need for the defense to tip their hand, because there's no balancing of evidence at this point when you're talking about a probable cause. It's just, is there probable cause? And I guess, the court decided that the evidence that he was at the scene, that he was in possession of a phone that dropped the baby off, that all of that was enough to say there's probable cause that he shot the victims. But I don't consider this unbiased reporting. There was way more information that was put out that should have been included, right?
Like what part of it? The part where he says the DA will, of course, need more evidence at trial, and I'm sure he has it. I mean, it's exactly what the fuck I was saying. This guy clearly has relationships in terms of sources within the government, whether it's the local prosecutor, a bunch of prosecutors in that office, a bunch of cops, whatever the case may be. You have to look at things that you're reading in terms of mainstream media with a grain of salt. You have to understand that they value the relationships with their sources, and they're going to report in a way that is going to benefit the people that are paying their bills. And in this situation, and in most situations, that's typically the government. That's where the leaks happen. We've seen it, we've lived it, we've dealt with it firsthand in terms of leaks getting out, and it can only come from one place. If it's not coming from us, and reporters are coming up with information before we're even finding out, like motions being filed, like them trying to kick Allison off a case, and I'm getting a call during a deposition, hey, do you have comment on this motion for sanctions against Allison? I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about in the middle of a deposition of your medical examiner. What are you talking about? And then the young, so we know where the leaks come from all the time. So the point being, just take a breath, take a step back, read what you're going to read, but understand that there's other things in play behind what you're reading. All right. It's just buy into the presumption of innocence, require more from the government. It's our duty as citizens. It's our right as citizens to put the government to the task so that we know that they're not throwing people into prisons for crimes that they did not commit based on a fucking story that they've developed. Because if they weren't there, they don't know. They're guessing what happened. It's an educated guess based on the evidence. They're saying, okay, because I mean, they've got Austin around, and essentially, to me, their entire case is that at this point, he was around there. We
It's
have
going to
him
matter
around.
a lot what these people say that he said on the phone calls, what he said to them when they got there, you know, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
so here is the video of the armed robbery.
He's having a tough time picking out a snacky. I mean,
That was it.
that was it.
Position. You want to explain that to the court?
Whoops. What's going on?
I don't know. Where's that?
It's not us.
Oh,
So, I mean, you do see, something in his hand. We'll watch it one more time. Not while he's walking around, but I thought I saw something when he was over by the register. I mean, this seems to happen very quick. He just points to it right there. Yeah. He got $44. All right. So I think that is all the updates that I have on Austin directly. Before we move on to the accessories after the fact, I'm wondering when I should call over and see if I can't find out if the case was dismissed, or if it was transferred to Madison. I don't know if Mandy and Tracy are out there. If you guys see anybody actually reporting on this, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna call over. So what I was thinking we would do is watch the well, why don't we start with Tracy sent me the affidavits of complaint. Maybe we should start there. What do you think, babe?
yeah. I think that's the move.
All right.
Because I was trying to find where Madison County is. It doesn't look to be too far. So Madison County is where that Walmart is located. That the one victim went and bought the burner and the burlap tarps.
I've got the complaints for 3. So we'll start with this one. Whoops.
Is that the guy? Oh no, the guy's right next to me. What's
Your
that?
Your dad.
What? Wow. I didn't hear it. What was it? Wow. You're muted.
All right. So this guy's charges were dismissed. He was not charged as an accessory after the fact, but his charges give us some information. So, whoop, okay. On June 18th, so that's the day before, Brendan Diego Xavier Powell traveled to Lake County, Tennessee with Austin Drummond with the intention of delivering marijuana, tobacco, and an ear piercing kit to an inmate at the local prison. Austin Drummond identified Brendan Powell as the driver of the trail car assisting with this delivery. So let's just start there. That sounds like Austin Drummond is reporting on this guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. On June 19th at approximately 2:02 a.m., I attempted to stop the vehicle identified by Drummond. So it's been identified beforehand. It was traveling with the intention. Okay.
Yeah. And just for frame of reference, this is a month and 10 days prior to the crime. So
Right.
June 19th of 2025.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking it was closer. I was thinking it was July. So yeah, June 18th.
Right.
Okay. So I attempted to
I
stop.
mean, which goes to your proposition that he's informing on this guy.
Right. The vehicle fled at a high rate of speed, during which 6 to 7 objects were thrown from it. Most of these objects were later recovered by law enforcement. The recovery included approximately 1 pound, 11.7 ounces of marijuana, 4 packages of tobacco, a drone case, 5 cell phones, rings, and an ear piercing kit, and several mesh bags. An extensive investigation has since revealed that Brendan Diego Powell conspired with Austin Drummond and 3 other individuals to deliver contraband into the penal facility in Lake County, Tennessee. Law enforcement surveillance observed the entire process of the events above. So how did they know ahead of time to be doing that? But this was not filled out until August 2nd. Sworn and subscribed August 2nd. That's when the probable cause for this thing that happened a month before was
month and change.
So
Conveniently gets filed right after the crime takes place.
Right.
So
And
I mean,
he
it could
pled
be
out. He
argued that
pled
they're
guilty
already.
to traffic offenses. This guy and his case.
Yeah, I mean, they had him dead to rights.
Traffic offenses is all he pled to.
Oh, well, wait, did they drop the rest of the charges?
That's it. That's all that I can see. That's all he's got. Nothing else.
Interesting.
Here, I'll pull up his. Let's see. What's his name? Powell. I think this is it. This shows that charges were nollie prossed on September 2nd. All right. It's not what I was looking for. Okay, here's his charges. So his case was transferred to Madison County from Lake County. On July 7th. Maybe this is maybe those charges were all dismissed and all he had left from that was traffic offenses. Because this shows June 30th. He had traffic offenses. Now I don't know if that's even related to this, but he pled guilty to those. Let's see. So he got speeding and tinted windows from, that violation date was 6/26. So that's not even the same date. All right. So he pled guilty to that. The other charges were nollie pros. They were dismissed. So there's that. All right. Now let's look at the complaints for some of the accessories. Oh, that's not the complaint. Sorry.
Are you going to the sites or are these?
No, these are what
I'm gonna have to teach
Tracy
you how to
sent
put
me.
together a little like PowerPoint
I
presentation.
had
Yeah,
it. I had it already, and then I did something, and now I've got to refine where I. Hold on a sec.
Ellie's, we got to get our basement studio out of where my dad lives. That's what's going on there. So kind of the interesting thing that we're seeing with the accessories, with the cases being dropped by one county and moved to a different jurisdiction, as Ali said, we don't know whether Tanaka Brown is being dismissed outright or whether or not it's being dismissed and rebrought in Madison County like the other people. We're hoping to find that out today. But when you start thinking about kind of the interplay, it becomes interesting from the state's perspective in terms of, are they trying to get these people to flip? Because if you're the government, you want to know from these people what was said during these conversations, right? You want to know if Austin's calling saying, "Oh my God, I just unalived these 4 people. I need your help."
And you'll see from the arraignment, the lawyers argue they didn't know anything.
Right. So, but that doesn't mean that the
Right.
government believes them.
Right. So here's the affidavit of complaint for Tanaka Brown. It says, doesn't give us any facts. It just says that it was determined that Tanaka J. Brown did knowingly commit the offense of tampering with evidence for altering, destroying, or concealing the availability of evidence in the investigation. That could have been the car. I'm not sure. And then we've got can you see this now?
It's way too small. Yeah, I can now.
Okay, so I just didn't know if I switched screens or not. So Austin Drummond was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. During the course of the investigation, it was determined that Dearrah Sanders did knowingly commit the offense of accessory after the fact after the commission of a felony with knowledge or reasonable grounds to believe that Austin Drummond had committed a felony and with the intent to hinder the arrest and trial and conviction of Austin Drummond. So not much facts there. So what we're going to do is start with the news report. Darn it. Okay. Got it. Okay. Give me a sec.
I mean, we have no choice.
Oh boy, I made it widescreen before I shared, and if I do that, I can't then
Girl,
get
you got
back.
to use 2 screens. I keep telling you, the single screen thing ain't it. Like, I get everything set up on the second screen. I don't care that I'm not looking forward.
All right. Okay. Here we go.
Learning new details on how investigators say 4 people helped accused Lake County quadruple murderer Austin Drummond. They were in a Jackson, Tennessee courtroom for arraignments today. ABC 24's Desmond Nugent was there and has why one man has become the focal point in this case.
While 4 of Austin Drummond's alleged accomplices were arraigned here in Jackson, Tennessee in court, one stood out, Giovontie Thomas. He's the man accused of being a friend to Drummond since high school.
There's not a jury in the world that's going to convict him of hooking up a 3-way call for 2 men to talk about getting a phone, and that's it.
Passion fueled Giovontie Thomas's attorney, Joe Berg, during his arraignment. He's the man accused of being Austin Drummond's friend and accomplice. Drummond is the man charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder for a quadruple homicide in Lake County. The Madison County District Attorney's Office claims Thomas and his girlfriend, Michelle Ovelis, rented a vehicle for Drummond prior to the Lake County murders. Prosecutors say Thomas and Ovelis drove the vehicle from Madison to Lake County. Thomas's attorney states Tanaka Brown, another individual who knows Drummond, was involved with how the rental car was used, not his client.
Brown subsequently calls Ms. Ovelis regarding the car. Mr. Thomas knows nothing about the car until after the fact. Neither one of them knew anything about a murder, an intent to commit a murder, none of that. Not until Tanaka Brown brings the car back.
Dearrah Sanders and Erik Wise Jr. were also alleged to be involved with Drummond. The state claims the couple went to a Walmart in Madison County to purchase cell phones and duffel bags for Drummond, with surveillance footage recovered by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Sanders is accused of allowing Drummond to stay in her apartment after knowing authorities were searching for him. Bond is set for Thomas and Wise at $250,000. Sanders has a bond of $150,000 on Ovelis at $100,000.
Thomas, according to what the state's proved, that both were involved, both prior to and allegedly after the homicides out of Lake County. So taking all that into consideration, someone set her bond at $100,000.
4 of Drummond's accomplices are set to be back here in court on November 3rd at 1:30 p.m. We'll continue to keep you updated on this case on air and online. In Jackson, Tennessee.
So there's that coverage. And then this one's a little bit different. So we're going to listen to this as well.
In the Austin Drummond case now, the man charged with killing a family of 4 and abandoning their baby in Dearrah County. The suspects who are charged with helping him also appeared in court today. For the first time, new details emerged about their relationships with him. Action News 5's Caitlin Miller shows you how deep their involvement goes, according to investigators.
Giovontie Thomas, Michelle Ovelis, Dearrah Sanders, and Erik Wise all appeared before Judge Don Allen this morning. The 4 suspects all facing accessory after the fact charges. While focus has largely been on how the suspected accomplices helped Austin Drummond after his crimes, it was made clear in court today that's not where the story begins. FBI agent Scott Lawson last week said the car Drummond is believed to have driven was rented a day prior by Michelle Ovelis. Her attorney stated in court today that she was only guilty of renting and returning a car.
Her involvement is very limited. She was asked to rent a car, which is not illegal, and she was required by that rental contract to return that vehicle, which is not illegal. There were scarce, if any, mention of her involvement directly with Drummond.
However, Judge Don Allen made it clear that what Ovelis told law enforcement seems to paint a different picture.
According to the statements she did make several statements which apparently would indicate some knowledge of the homicide and also knowledge of the aggravated kidnapping. So I do find that the apparent probability of conviction is likely.
We also learned more about Ovelis' relationship with Giovontie Thomas, the man police say Drummond called less than an hour after the murders. Thomas and Ovelis were living together at the time and shared 2 children, ages 2 and 10. Prosecutors say the same car Ovelis rented for Drummond was returned to Thomas. When discussed in court today, Thomas's attorney and Judge Allen went back and forth on whether Thomas knew the vehicle had just been used to commit mass murder.
As far as the courtroom is concerned, the only statement of fact that the state believes to be proof is him accepting the key and taking the car back.
I understand, but I understand also that when the car was returned, there was some indication that perhaps evidence had been tampered with.
It also came to light that Dearrah Sanders and Erik Wise are connected. The 2 suspects believed to have purchased the duffel bag and cell phone found near where Drummond was caught by police August 5th. Prosecutors also say Sanders gave Drummond food, clothes, and a place to stay after the crime, even when she found out what he had done.
She said that she learned he was actually released to Drummond on Friday morning, August 1st, but she did continue to let him stay at her apartment until he left on Saturday, August 3rd, 2025.
It was also revealed in court today that Sanders, who was facing a $25,000 bond before today's hearing, is currently 6 months pregnant and under close medical supervision due to complications. Bond was set for all 4 of the suspects, ranging from $250,000 to $100,000. In Memphis, Caitlin Miller, Action News 5.
And the 4 alleged accomplices are set to return to court Monday, November 3rd at 1:30 in the afternoon. Judge Allen says this gives the legal teams time to look at discovery material that comes in from the District Attorney General's office.
All right, so now we do have the hearing. So I don't know if you want to jump right to that now. You want to take some questions now? What are you thinking?
Hearing. Do you want to take some questions?
I don't know if we have any.
Yeah, we don't have any questions. I
All
mean,
right.
not as far as supers go. If
Okay.
you guys have any questions for Q&A type stuff, fire them up.
Sleuthy's been a member for 9 months.
Aw.
Hey, Sleuth. Holly is probably panicking. Oh, you did that. Says, yep, happy anniversary. 1 years. Mama 2SL Morgan, y'all are the best. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you for your continued support, member for 12 months.
Love that.
Never forget Cody Hardwick, member for 5 months. Love some DD. Glad to be a part of this group. Well, we're glad to have you. And Mermaid Mary RN, member for 2 months. Thank you for your continued support. Great job. Thanks for bringing true facts as always. All right, I am going to put this, if I can I speed this up? Playback speed at 1.25, and we'll see if we can go any faster. Hopefully the sound's okay.
So far, not good.
August 30th, 2019.
Then on May 24th, 2017, arrest in Madison County for failure to appear in violation of community corrections.
Had you been on some kind of probation?
I believe so.
Did that get louder?
No.
So weird.
Tracy says it gets better. Thanks, Trace.
Today is the day to have your information here, and he's got convictions to present those. The bulk of what he's just stated were dismissed. So I object to any bit of this. You know, we're here today. We filed a motion and a memorandum for have a bond set. That was served on the state. Today's the day to have your NCIC in your hand and present to the court. If there are convictions the court consider, that's fine. One of these that he says was a failure to appear in community correction was a bad drug screen. So again,
What do you mean a bad drug screen?
apparently he failed a drug screen at some point while community corrections. It was not a failure to appear. That was resolved.
Failed a drug screen while on probation.
Apparently. And that was, I think, what, 6 years ago? We'd like to be heard about the facts.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm giving you a chance. I have to have an understanding what the state's proof is against each of these individuals. So, in respect to Ms. Thomas, you said he did give some statement, making some, I guess, admissions. Circuit Court on Mr. Thomas.
It looks like from the kind of circuit court online records, he was convicted August 10th of 2020 for Schedule 6 drugs with intent to sell or deliver as a guilty plea as charged.
Oh, hang on, that's August 10th, 2020.
Yes, sir. In that same case, he was also convicted of drug paraphernalia, driving while driving without license in possession, and in violation of the seatbelt law. That's his circuit court.
So what kind of sentence did he receive on the felony possession of marijuana with intent to sell or deliver?
It was 2 years at 30%. Released on time served and based on probation.
2 years and 30%. Okay. And you said something about, did he violate probation? You said violation of community corrections.
Well, Your Honor, in a separate case in Madison County on February 21st, 2017, he did plead guilty to, it says domestic assault and false imprisonment.
Can't bloop bloop.
He was convicted of domestic assault and sentenced to 11 months and 29 days, 75%. False imprisonment, 11 months and 29 days, 75%.
It hasn't gotten better yet, Tracy. How long?
It's gotten some better. Are people unable to hear to the point?
I'm having a hard time hearing it. Like, you can hear it better than us. That's why I'm always like, yeah, I hear it great. You guys can't hear that?
That's
jump. The accessory conduct occurred. The wrong venue.
All right, so it looks it gets.
When he was made aware that there's a warrant out for his arrest, he asked the TBI if he could take his children on the first day of school instead of being arrested at the school. They agreed that he surrendered. He gave a full statement. TBI told him they were not going to charge him in Madison County. District Attorney Goodman demanded that he be charged in Lake County. Not only was that the wrong venue, pursuant to State v. Talbot, a 1936 Tennessee Supreme Court case that says where the principal offense occurred has nothing to do with where the commission of the accessory conduct occurred, but the warrant was void. It was a TBI saying we did an investigation, he's an accessory. So he sat in jail for on a $250,000 bond on a Class E felony for 2 weeks.
Was he charged like an affidavit through General Sessions Court?
Yes, affidavit complaint that was void on his face in Lake County and part of the wrong place. So we went up last Tuesday and the state dismissed the case. We had a motion and memorandum filed at that point in time to find out that he had a hold because of the indictment here.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So
yes,
when it went to court, the General Sessions Court in Lake County.
Is there captioning available?
No, yes, sir.
Because of the venue issue.
Venue and the warrant was grossly deficient. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, I understand.
So here are the facts. Drummond made a phone call to Mr. Thomas at 7 o'clock in the morning from an unknown number. He didn't even know who was calling. Drummond, Tanaka Brown, and Mr. Thomas all went to high school together.
Where was that, in Madison County?
In Madison County. My understanding is that Tanaka Brown and Mr. Drummond are both vice lords. Mr. Thomas is not in the gang. He's never been in the gang, period. So this call is made, and he's asked by Drummond to connect Tanaka Brown on a three-way call. He didn't even know at the time he answers the phone who's calling because he's never seen the number before. That's it.
Is this what he told the law enforcement?
Yes, sir. He would know nothing about a car was mentioned at that point in time. So Brown subsequently calls Ms. Ovelis regarding the car. Mr. Thomas knows nothing about the car until after the fact. Neither one of them knew anything about a murder, an intent to commit a murder, none of that. Not until Tanaka Brown brings the car back does Tanaka Brown tell them, oh, by the way, there was a child in that car. They don't know anything about a murder. They know about a murder on the morning that it broke, that the news broke, that these 4 people had been murdered and that the child had been dropped off somewhere. That's the first point at which they knew anything about the homicide, what Drummond did, any of that. So at the point that the car was brought back, Mr. Thomas has no knowledge of what's in the car. What was in the car was cleaned out by Tanaka Brown, who's not here in this courtroom today. That's who cleaned the car out. Mr. Thomas was at his place of work at Rafferty's. They still hold his job open today. So in a nutshell, he's not even going to be charged according to TBI until the Lake County thing happens. Then we file the motions, it gets dismissed, and boom, he's indicted here. So Ms. Bree is going to give you some more information about his background and why this bond should be set at a very low amount to ensure that he will appear in all subsequent proceedings. Here's the crux of this case, John, please. And this is one of the big factors in setting a bond. What is the likelihood of conviction? If the phone call is what they're saying is the likelihood of conviction, it's 0, absolutely 0. There's not a jury in the world that's going to convict him of hooking up a 3-way call for 2 men to talk about getting a phone, and that's it. That's it. He didn't ask him to call him about anything. This is a call at 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, as far as the car is concerned, the car at some point was returned, and that's that. So I understand this is a serious case, 4 people killed, and this man reached out and tried to drown everybody he knew as an accessory. I get all that. But I guess the point is, we're not aware of any information that's any different today than when he self-surrendered to TBI, gave a statement, completely cooperated. I'm not aware of anything different now than was then. Yet he's indicted now, where then he was not even charged until they charged him in Lake County on this catastrophe with a $250,000 bond on an E felony held 2 weeks and then to be brought here. So that's the correct history. And Ms. Bree will address the other issues in our bond motion.
Well, hang on just a second, Joel. Specifically, tell me again, with respect to Mr. Giovontie Thomas, what it is the state alleges specifically that he did as far as being an accessory after the fact of first-degree murder and or accessory after the fact of aggravated kidnapping. What was it you said he did, or what the state's proof would be?
Yes, sir. So on July 29th, around 3 p.m., that's when Tampering deputies responded to a 911 call in the area of Old Highway 20. After it was called in, the infant had been abandoned in front of the residence by an unknown individual. There was an individual in the area who identified Nissan Road, white in color, that stopped in front of the house. And
Is it white in color?
observed a Caucasian male stated out in the window and went to the child seat. The infant was identified as the child of Adriana Williams, James Matthew Wilson. Those are 2 individuals who, prior to that 911 call regarding the abandoned infant, have been identified as 2 individuals who have been murdered. Around that same day, after Lola was put out for White Nissan Road, a Tennessee State Park Ranger, Corey Hussey, was in the area of Carrington Road over in that county when he observed a White Nissan SUV with California plates.
White.
As well as another vehicle leaving that area. He had also observed dust in the ear, traveling off the vehicle at the back area. At around 8:20 p.m. on that same day, July 29th, the mother of Wilson called Lake County 911 to report that she found 2 vehicles belonging to 2 Rose, as well as her 15-year-old son, Brayden Williams, a Chevy Conversion Dodge Charger on Carrington Road in Middle Tennessee. Lake County deputies arrived at that area after a search, found cartridge casings on the ground around the vehicles. After a further search of the area, Wilson and Adriana Williams were discovered by Lake County deputies deceased in the living area near the vehicles. Brayden Williams and Rose were also found deceased in a separate living area near the vehicles. All 4 of the victims have been shot and mounted camouflage burlap material. During the course of the investigation, Special Agents of Tennessee Bureau of Investigation used a flock camera, which is a system that the Jackson Police Department uses to identify vehicles. And they identified a white Nissan Rogue with California plates.
He keeps calling it a white Nissan Rogue. At the prelim for Drummond, they kept calling it a silver. So I wonder which one is actually the vehicle.
Why is this guy reading from his phone?
I know. I know most of you can't hear it. So far, he has mentioned nothing about the evidence against Thomas. He's just going through the basic facts that the mother of Matthew reported that the vehicles were at that Covington Road location, which begs the question, how did she know when she didn't, see her son later that that's where his car would be found? What makes her drive down this road to the end of some dirt road looking for the vehicles. But all right, let's keep going.
Approximately 11:30 a.m. on July 29th, 2025, after it had been picked up from Enterprise here in Jackson, Tennessee, at approximately 11 a.m.
And that's in Lake County.
That's here in Madison.
It was rented in Madison County, but you're saying it was spotted in Lake County.
Yes, it was physically spotted in Lake County earlier at 11 a.m. It was rented from the Enterprise rental car here in Madison County, and then it was observed on clock cameras leaving Madison County, Lake County, 11:30. At 12:39 p.m., the vehicle was identified by clock cameras with no damage and no dust or other visible artifact.
Bullshit.
2:15 p.m., the Nissan Road with the California plates was identified on clock with significant dust on the vehicle. It was returned to Enterprise in Jackson, Madison, Tennessee the next day, July 30th, 2025.
Okay, so just so we know, that's those two different vehicles, the white one and then the silver one. So, so far it seems like bullshit. The car had dust on it. I mean, I don't even know that they needed that, but whatever. It's still not getting to Thomas's evidence against Thomas. But are you able to hear it all?
Not this guy. I can hear when the defense attorneys are speaking. I can't hear anything this guy's saying. Very little. I know that he's reading from his phone. That's all I know. But Sue has an interesting question. If Drummond is innocent, can these people be charged as accomplices if they tried to hide him and help him get away knowing he was wanted? I think at that point, so
it's aiding and abetting a fugitive as opposed to an accessory.
Was he a fugitive at that point?
If they're saying that he's a fugitive, you're still aiding a fugitive. Whether or not
I don't know that he was a fugitive that early on. Like how long?
Right. He's definitely not a fugitive at any point until sometime after 8 p.m. is when they find the bodies. So I don't know when they even identified him as a person of interest.
Right.
Which is probably why they charged accomplice after the fact and not aiding and abetting a fugitive.
Yeah. Which, if he's an accessory after the fact and he didn't commit the crimes, then no, I can't.
No, you cannot be an accomplice to a crime that didn't occur, but they could charge aiding and abetting a fugitive because you're a fugitive whether you're innocent or not if they want you.
Well, but I think all this took place prior to him being
correct.
A fugitive.
I would agree. I would agree. All right. Where are we? Oh, here. Okay, sorry.
Rented by Michelle Ovelis in her name. Michelle Ovelis is the significant other of Giovontie Thomas.
Okay.
The vehicle was reserved on July 28, 2025 at 7:44 p.m. So it was reserved by them the day before. No bill.
Right. Yep. I was just going to pause it and say not them, her. Was it her? So, and that's what the defense attorney chimes in. No, because the prosecutor's saying that Giovontie is the significant other of Michelle. So they rented the vehicle. And the defense attorney's like, no, them. No to them.
Well, I'm asking him what he says the state's proof is going to be. I know you say it's not.
Well, he said reserved by them. I don't know there's any proof that Mr. Thomas had anything to do with reserving or winning anything.
Why do you say them?
Because I'm
Michelle Ovelis was a significant other of Giovontie Thomas, and then based on statements that she and Mr. Thomas gave, for example, Ms. Ovelis was interviewed by FBI special agents. She reported that Giovontie Thomas is her boyfriend, and she rented the vehicle for his friend that she knew as AD, and that AD came to their home on July 28, 2025, and asked her to rent the vehicle for him. Ovelis reported that Drummond told her that he needed to rent the vehicle while he was present at her house. She picked it up the next day. Ovelis explained that Drummond gave her $600 for the rental.
Can you pause and tell us what he's saying?
Yeah, I was just going to, but then you talked. Hold on.
Well, he said reserved by them. I don't know there's any proof.
She rented the vehicle for his friend.
Okay, so what he has said so far is that when Michelle gave her statement, she said she rented the vehicle for her her boyfriend, Giovontie Thomas's friend, known to her as AD, Austin Drummond, and that Austin Drummond came to the house the night before and asked her to rent the vehicle for him and gave her $600.
That she knew as AD, and that AD came to their home on July 28th, 2025, and asked her to rent the vehicle for him. Ovelis reported that Drummond told her that he needed to rent the vehicle while he was present at their house. They picked it up the next day. Ovelis explained that Drummond gave her $600 for the rental and told her to keep the rest of the money. She kept $150. Ovelis reported that Drummond brought the vehicle back to their.
So far, she said that he said he needed the vehicle for the next day. He gave her $600 for it, told her she could keep the difference. She kept $150, and I'll tell you after I hear the rest.
Residence around 10 p.m. on July 29th. They handed the keys to Giovontie Thomas.
So he returned the car to their house at 10 p.m. that night on the 29th and gave the keys to Giovontie Thomas.
Ovelis reported that she met Thomas and Tanaka Brown at Rapids in Jackson, County, Tennessee, and she followed Brown to the Enterprise to return the vehicle.
So she said that she met Tanaka Brown and Giovontie Thomas someplace, and then she followed them, or they followed her to return the vehicle.
There was also security footage at the Enterprise that confirmed she drove her vehicle to the Enterprise while Brown drove the Nissan Rogue. Giovontie Thomas was interviewed by TBI twice.
Okay, so Tanaka Brown drove the Nissan Rogue, and Michelle followed in her vehicle. Now they're getting into what Giovontie Thomas said when he was interviewed.
During those interviews, he reported that on July 28th, Austin Drummond came to his apartment while he was at work and asked his girlfriend Michelle to rent a car for him.
So while he was at work, Drummond came to the house and asked his girlfriend to rent a car for him.
Stated on July 29th, 2025, at approximately 7 a.m., he received a call from an unknown number.
7
He
a.m.
answered it. It was Drummond telling him to make a three-way call with Tanaka Brown.
So he got a call at 7-something a.m. from Austin Drummond, who asked him to make a three-way call with Tanaka Brown.
Thomas reported that while they were on a three-way phone call, Drummond told Tanaka to come get him by saying, "Matt, come get me, hurry up." Thomas and Ovelis went to get the rental car approximately 2 to 3 hours later.
Okay, so he said he asked Matt to come pick him up. Maybe that's, I don't know, said, come pick me up, hurry, come pick me up. And then something about they return the car later. Let me go back a second.
He reported that on July 28th, Austin Drummond came to his apartment while he was at work and asked his girlfriend Michelle to rent a car for him. Thomas stated that on July 29th, 2025, at approximately 7 a.m., he received a call from an unknown number. When he answered it, it was Drummond telling him to make a three-way call with Tanaka Brown. Thomas reported that while they were on a three-way phone call, Drummond told Tanaka to come get him by saying, "Matt, come get me, hurry up." Thomas and Ovelis went to get the rental car approximately 2 to 3 hours later. He reported later that Drummond and Brown arrived at his house before the rental vehicle. Thomas stated when Brown returned inside their apartment that Brown made a statement, "Bro, what the fuck? Thomas stated that Brown told him that Drummond instructed him to get some bleach and some gasoline before picking him up. Thomas advised Brown told him that he helped Drummond clean the scene.
Say it again now.
Giovontie Thomas, advised CBI special agents that Tanaka Brown told him that he helped Drummond clean up the scene.
All right, so he said that it was Tanaka Brown that he was on the phone with, and then Tanaka Brown came over, said something like, "What the fuck, bro? He asked me to get bleach and gasoline to meet him." And then when they came back later that night, Tanaka Brown told Giovontie Thomas that he helped Drummond clean the scene. And that's where we're at right now.
Thomas stated that Brown told him he put on black gloves.
Thomas told Brown that he put on black gloves,
Wipe down the truck with Drummond.
wiped down the truck with
Brown told him he helped Drummond push the truck. Thomas said
wiped down the truck with Drummond, and then Thomas helped Drummond push the truck.
Brown informed him that Drummond said those people were the police. Thomas stated
And that So Giovontie says Tanaka told him that Drummond said those people were police.
That night, Drummond returned the rental car to him at his job at Baptist in Jackson, Tennessee at approximately 8:40 p.m.
He returned the rental car to him at 8:40 p.m. At his place of business where he works.
Drummond asked him to wipe down the car, and Thomas said he would not.
Drummond asked him to wipe down the car, and Thomas said he would not.
Parking lot with Brown. Thomas advised the car smelled like gasoline.
He advised the car smelled like gasoline, and then after he told him no, Brown and Drummond left.
Small red jug in the car, similar to a gas can and cleaning supplies. He drove the car
He saw a gas can and cleaning supplies in the car.
to his residence when he got off of work.
He drove the car to his residence when he got off of work.
Ovelis later drove the car to her job. Thomas stated that on the morning of July 30th, Brown did a three-way call with him and Ovelis. Brown told him that baby that Drummond had with him, that was the baby that Drummond had with him, referring to the missing baby.
So the next day, Tanaka Brown meets up with Giovontie Thomas and Michelle, what is it? Olivis, I'm sorry. And he said that baby that they found is the baby that Drummond had with him.
So Mr. Thomas makes some statement about the child.
Mr. Brown makes a statement to Mr. Thomas the next day that the missing baby from social media was the one that Mr. Drummond had with him that day, the 29th.
Would that have been in Lake County?
That would have been when he came to Madison.
Okay. All right.
That's when they saw Mr. Drummond.
With the child.
Thomas advised that Ovelis called him.
Ovelis.
Like, what the fuck? So he called Brown, and they were on FaceTime together. Thomas said that Tanaka Brown told him that he saw Drummond with the baby. It did not say how Drummond got the baby. Thomas said he screen shared the article about the baby.
So he said that there's something else, they got together and like, what the fuck? And then Thomas said that the baby on social media is the baby that he had, but he didn't say how they got the baby, how Drummond got the baby.
With Tanaka Brown during the phone call, Thomas said that Tanaka Brown told him he thought Drummond was who committed the murders. Later in the morning, while Thomas was at
Wait. If I'm talking while it's on, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm going to slow it down to 1 and then just kind of speak over it. Ovelis called him and was like, what the fuck? So he called Brown, and on FaceTime, Thomas said that Tanaka Brown told him that he saw Drummond with the baby, but did not say how Drummond got the baby. Thomas said he screen shared the article about the baby with Tanaka Brown during the phone call. Thomas said that Brown told him he thought Drummond was who committed the murder. Later that morning, while Thomas was at work, Ovelis and Tanaka arrived in the rental car. They threw away the cleaning supplies in the gas can. Ovelis took the personal car from him to follow Tanaka Brown so they could return the rental car. Thomas stated that Drummond came to Rafferty's later and asked Thomas if he was good and if he wiped the car down. Wait, there was something right there. Did he talk to TBI, I think?
Also, Thomas stated that when the news of the murders came on July 30th, he started calling Drummond on the phone trying to get a hold of him.
When the news of the murders came out on June 30th, he started calling Drummond on the phone to get a hold of him.
He said he was able to talk to Drummond for about 30 seconds.
He said he was able to talk to Drummond for about 30 seconds.
And Drummond then at that time did not do anything with the rental car. This is according to Thomas.
And then at that time, Drummond denied doing anything with the rental car, according to Thomas.
Thomas advised that he told Drummond that Ovelis was going to jail.
Thomas told Drummond that Ovelis was going to jail.
Drummond then said, man.
Drummond then said, man, and hung up the phone.
Okay. All right. And then you said were the murders, the alleged murders committed on what date? You said July 29th. And then you said earlier that this defendant, Mr. Thomas, failed to appear in court on July 31st in Jackson City Court. Is that my understanding?
Yes.
That he failed to appear in
Yeah, he
court.
was supposed to get his license back.
Well, no, but he was scheduled to appear in court on July 31st and did not show up for court.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. Does the state have a recommendation as to a bond with respect to Mr. Giovontie Thomas?
We recommend the same bond laws placed on him.
Which was?
$250,000 they're asking for.
Let's see.
Wow.
Let me hear, I guess, from Ms. Free, you want to make a statement on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, as to Mr. Thomas's history, he has lived in West Tennessee his entire life.
Where in West Tennessee?
In Jackson, Your Honor.
In Jackson?
Yes, sir. He graduated from Northside High School in 2014. He attended Jackson State Community College and has some coursework there. Your Honor, he has two children that he financially supports. One of the children, prior to being in custody, resided with Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Ovelis. The other child resides with the mother that he financially supports. That child, as he does the child that lived with he and Ms. Ovelis. Your Honor, as Mr. Berg stated, he is employed at Rafferty's, has been for, I believe, approximately 14 months. Rafferty's is ready for him to come back to work and have no problems with allowing him to return back to work. Your Honor, if he makes bond, because of what we believe the conditions will be for his ability to communicate with Ms. Ovelis as to their child, he is going to move back in with his parents. They reside here in Madison County. He will reside there with his parents and his three siblings. Your Honor, as we stated, he does have court on September 17th. The reason for the suspended license was a failure to pay on some court costs, which were satisfied, which allowed him to be able to get his regular driver's license back, which he will be in court on September 17th for, assuming he can make bond to present that license in city court. Your Honor, he has family members present in the courtroom that will vouch for his appearance. Because of the serious nature of these charges and the association with Mr. Drummond, they are going to make sure he is where he's supposed to be when he is supposed to be there. Because of the reputation of Mr. Drummond, as we have learned over the course of the past month, there are fears, obviously, from their concern to make sure Giovontie is where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. And he will timely appear because of the serious nature of these charges. And Your Honor, it is rare that a person voluntarily gives information, and that information was provided to TBI. TBI provided that information to both the Lake County prosecutor as well as our prosecutor. And he was in custody for the city court matter, held here until he made bond in the city court matter, then was transported.
When you said he made bond in the city court?
Yes, sir. He made bond under driving on suspended license in city court.
When did he post a bond on that matter?
Your Honor, I believe it was the 13th of August, and then he was transported to Lake County the 14th.
I thought you said he failed to appear.
He did. He
on
failed to appear.
July 31st.
It was a bond on failure to appear, Your Honor.
So he had already posted bond on the driving on suspended license, then he failed to
That's
appear
correct,
in court.
And then.
The judge said a new bond in
That's
Jackson City
correct.
Court?
It was a $2,000 bond, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
For his appearance.
Was that before he was charged with these offenses?
There was a hold from Lake County, so as soon as Madison County, Jackson City Court was finished with him, he was transported to Lake County. And Your Honor, give me a second, I can tell you that the warrant was sworn out on 7/29/25 in Lake County, Tennessee. That's the date on the affidavit of complaint in Lake County. And Miss Jessica Avery, who is the clerk, signed it on 8/2/25. And there is an officer agency printed date of 8/4/25. He was served at approximately 16:20, according to the arrest warrant from Lake County.
Okay.
So
I believe that the amount, go back to the Champagne State about the bond, we were saying, this is the same court in Lake County that said $135,000 bond for Mr. Drummond stabbing somebody. Yet this was a deep felony, said it's
I don't know what the judge did in Lake County in terms of Mr. Drummond bond. I mean,
please, Your Honor, please.
Drummond's releasing $135,000 stabbing somebody, if this was an felony of $4 million, he's out there 2 weeks. So I don't know what went into setting that bond up there.
I don't either.
But I don't know that's relevant to your honor's consideration today because it wasn't like county. That's not fair.
All right, okay. Well, go ahead, Ms. Ray. Anything else?
Your Honor, he has no physical or mental conditions that would require a need for him to be incarcerated, and he will appear timely at all future court appearances. He plans to get out, get back to work, and continue supporting his children, and will do whatever Your Honor says from a condition standpoint. If it is he cannot communicate with Ms. Ovelis about their child, that is what he will do. Because I would assume the state would ask if they not communicate with each other, they will need to have some communication about the child, and Mr. Thomas supporting that child and visiting with that child.
And what type of bond are you requesting?
$20,000, Your Honor.
$20,000. Generally, did you want to respond to her statements? Well, in determining the amount of bail necessary to reasonably assure the appearance of the defendant in court, while at the same time protecting the safety of the public, the court has to consider, number one, the defendant's length of residence in this community. It's my understanding he's been a lifelong resident here in Madison County, Tennessee.
That's correct.
I believe you said graduated Northside High School in 2014.
That's correct.
And has continued to reside here. How old is your client now?
29 years old.
29 years old. Okay. So obviously I do consider he has lived here in this Madison County area his entire life. The defendant's employment status, I believe I was told he's employed or has been employed for approximately the last 18 months, 14 months here. As a job he can return to. I do consider his family ties and relationship. I know you said he has.
You're here for Mr. Thomas. Would you stand up?
I was going to say, I always have them stand up as soon as I say there's family here.
Thomas.
I'm a sister.
Brother? You're his mother with, or his sister?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does he live with his mother and sister already?
He's the one because of both of their arrests that had to give their place up. And so he's going to live with his parents.
Okay.
And Ms. Ovelis is, their child is Ms. Ovelis' mother's custody. I assume that Mr. Boyd can address that, but I'm not really able to get together at this point.
Sure. Okay. Of course, I do consider the family ties. He does have some family here present in court, which I assume that would vouch for him returning to court. I do consider the defendant's reputation, character, mental condition. Of course, as far as his prior criminal record, I've been told he does have several prior arrests, has at least 2 prior convictions out of Madison County Circuit Court. I believe he said in 2017, a domestic assault and a false imprisonment charges, 11 months and 29-day sentences. I believe at some point you said his probation got revoked. So on that matter, and then in 2020, I believe August 10th of 2020, the state indicated that he had a felony prior conviction for possession of marijuana with intent to sell or deliver, and with also possession of drug paraphernalia. Received a total effective sentence of 2 years. Was placed on probation. Did he violate that probation as well? Okay, so but he at least has that felony conviction. Which I was told he had several prior arrests out of the Jackson City as well, involving driving on a revoked license. Apparently was already out on bond in Jackson City Court on a driving on suspended license. Being told he was out on bond in that matter when these offenses allegedly occurred. I'm also being told he had a court date set in Jackson City Court on July 31st of this year, for which he failed to appear in court in Jackson City Court. I have to take that into consideration, even if it's a misdemeanor. I mean, if he was ordered to be back in court on a particular date and he doesn't show up for court, then that's something the court has to take into consideration. So I do find he has at least the failure to appear, recent failure to appear out of Jackson City Court. I do consider the nature of the offense. Obviously, these are serious offenses. Accessory after the fact of first-degree murder, and accessory after the fact of aggravated kidnapping. I'm being told from what the state's proof is, perhaps there may have been some involvement with this defendant prior to these homicides allegedly being committed in Lake County. I understand the vehicle that was apparently rented here in Madison County prior to the alleged homicides in Lake County, that this defendant was involved. He and I guess Miss Ovelis, I believe, allegedly were both involved in that prior to the homicide. Is that my understanding, General? So I do take that into consideration. the nature of the offense is the apparent probability of conviction. I'm being told that both Mr. Thomas and Ms. Ovelis both made statements, at least incriminating to some extent, that what the states allege that they provided some type of assistance to Mr. Austin Drummond, either prior to the offenses occurring or sometime after the offenses. I know they're being charged with accessory after the fact, first-degree murder, and also accessory after the fact of aggravated kidnapping of the child, I guess. And according to the statements, they both made statements admitting to at least some involvement in that. So I do consider the probability of conviction to be likely to some extent. Yeah.
The key to the arch of this case is knowledge.
I understand.
Did he have knowledge?
I understand.
That this occurring? And as far as the courtroom is concerned, the only statement factor that the state believes we put is him accepting the key and taking the car out.
I understand, but I understand also that when the car was returned, there was some indication that perhaps evidence had been tampered with. According to the state's proof, there was statements made by your client that indicates perhaps that the gasoline can or something, the smell of gasoline was in the car. So again, I know they're charged with accessory after the fact, but I have to consider what the state's proof is and what your client's statements indicate.
One more point on the facts will show that when Tanaka Brown and Ms. Ovelis came to Raptor, Tanaka Brown cleaned that car out. That's before Mr. Thomas even came out of Raptor.
Okay.
He noticed that gas can correctly. At that point, nobody knew anything about anybody being on.
Well, I mean, I guess that'll all come out at some later point, but I'm just going on what the state says and what their state proof will be.
They stated no proof of knowledge.
I do consider that the defendant's prior criminal record, likelihood because of the record, he would pose a risk of danger to the community. I mean, this is not somebody's first-time offender. I mean, apparently he's been arrested and charged.
Come on, man.
With driving on a revoked license,
marijuana, intent to sell or deliver, possession of drug paraphernalia, driving on a suspended license, which he was out on bond.
Hardened.
I do consider also the factors of the fact that what the state is alleging, that he did have some communication with Mr. Drummond prior to Mr. Drummond allegedly committing the homicides there in Lake County. So, after considering all those factors and the probability of conviction, which I think is high, I'm going to set his bond at $250,000.
Wow.
Jesus, come on, dude.
Circumstances. So his bond be set at $250,000.
Wow.
And I will.
All right. There's a lot more, but I just want to say so far, the worst facts that have come out from the Drummond standpoint is the statement, if true, that, let's see, Thomas said that Tanaka Brown told him that Austin told Tanaka Brown that them people was police. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
That could be interpreted as I killed them because they were police. I mean, we don't know what, I'm just pointing out the bad facts,
Yeah. So why do you here, walk me through that?
Well, if Drummond said to Tanaka Brown, them people were police, what does that imply to you?
Wait, so who said that to Tanaka Brown?
Tanaka
Giovontie?
Brown told Giovontie Thomas that Drummond told him them people were police.
Them people being the victims?
That's all the words that were spoken. Them people were police. They didn't explain in what context it was said. Who, they said that he went. He said, "What the fuck?" He asked me to bring cleaning supplies and a gasoline, and that he helped them. That Tanaka helped Austin clean the car and push the car, and that Austin said to Tanaka, this is what Giovontie says Tanaka told him, them people were police.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I'm
just saying it could infer that they were police and I had to kill them. I'm not saying it does.
Well, we know a 15-year-old is not police. I mean,
right.
And I don't know. And I saw an interesting comment that I ended up starring. So Pose Raven had asked for me right now, if Drummond was in fear for his life, why do all this after the fact? Wouldn't he just run from the scene with the baby and take off? I don't think so. I mean, it depends on who you're in fear for your life from, right? I
Right.
mean, if there's
Right.
some truth to what he's saying that this is cops that did this shit, I mean, I'm not trusting anybody at that point,
Right, but I
and
think
if
her point is, why take the time to clean your fingerprints off of the car?
because I'm not about to be a fucking patsy for some shit where they're gonna have proof that I was there because my fingerprints and DNA. Like if whatever goes down, if I'm not the guy who did it, but I'm there and I saw it go down, and
Right.
somehow I was able to escape, and I knew that I was in that vehicle, and I'm not a moron. I'm gonna go back if I can and try to wipe away any trace of me being there. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So I mean that to me, because if this thing went down another way, then you're in protection mode if you're Austin Drummond, and you're not trying to be a patsy, because if that's in fact what was happening, if this was okay, I've been made, and whoever this is that did this was aware of this transaction that was going to be taking place this morning, and they came with the intent on, number one, stealing whatever we were going to try to mule over, but it didn't sound like it was going to be much, because these, like, I keep hearing that these burlap, because they were talking about in the last, when you were talking about, I think it was Dearrah Sanders, when you were looking at her arrest affidavit, they had talked about that there, or one of the two, I can't remember,
Right, I
maybe
think
it
it
was
might have been
Giovontie.
Wise. I think it was Wise
Yeah,
Jr., but that's the next day he gets him he
that's not
gets
my
him
point. My
bags and a
point
cell
is,
phone.
yeah, but like the point is that they have those mesh bags. So what I'm thinking is that
Those are mesh tarps.
What are?
You're talking about two different things. At Walmart the night before, the victims buy the camouflage tarps and the cell phone. 2
Well,
days
where did I hear burlap? Because burlap's not
burlap was
necessarily.
here, I think. I don't remember. Yeah, which one was
I
burlap?
mean, because tarps are different. Like with like a burlap sack, I could see you putting if you've got a pound of weed packaged up and you're dropping it in there and you're having the drone fly
Yeah,
it
maybe
over,
that was
that makes
burlap.
sense. So I don't know.
But that was purchased by the victim. So you're saying it wouldn't have fit that much if they were burlap
sacks,
sacks,
or
camouflage.
if it's the same thing as the mesh sacks. Like I think that there's an MO that's used typically when they're muling things in via drone into the prison. I think there's a system that they use, and it sounds like these mesh / I don't know if they're the same as the burlap sacks. Point being that at the end of the day, if whatever ended up happening, if it's not as it seems, if it's not as the state is saying it is in terms of what happened, there's a lot of different factors at play, right? I mean, if you are Austin Drummond and you're present when this thing goes down because they're trying to steal whatever amount of drugs there might be, and they're also trying to pin
Silence
this
the
shit on
informant.
you so that you go down for this shit, so that you go in, and I mean, who knows? It's like trying to figure out if he's made, what would be the most appropriate way to get him. Is it to kill him,
I think so.
or
If you don't
is
want
it to?
him ratting on the
I mean, he's already a rat.
correction officers.
I mean, if you're already a rat and you know how rats are treated in prison,
Yeah, but why risk having the guy around to talk?
Well, I mean, maybe at that point, if these whoever did this, if it's not Drummond, they roll up to the scene and
Try to take them all out.
well, I mean, at that point, if they're working with Drummond and they understand the relationship that Drummond had with these people in terms of the relationship with his girlfriend, and then obviously her being the sister of Courtney, if they're aware of that and they think that they're also rats, that the whole crew of them is just a crew of rats that is working our assets, then maybe they're taking them out for that reason. Maybe Drummond
But it sounds like
escapes.
Drummond was informing on the 4.
I know, but that doesn't necessarily mean that whoever would have done this, if it's
Right, that they knew
somebody
that.
not necessarily related to those folks in any kind of familial type of way, that they would have necessarily known that. You know what I mean? They may have jumped to a conclusion that if they're working with Drummond and they know that Drummond's been made and they know that he's a rat, and these are his people, that there's no way that these people aren't also rats. So, which begs the question is how did Drummond escape? How were the
Right.
rest of them killed in
Right.
what very much seems to be at
Right.
close range
And why wouldn't a
assassin?
car follow him right out? Like, oh, he's leaving. We're gonna, but
Well, yeah, but like they sound like hits. Like, a
Right.
single headshot sounds like, they probably had him on their knees, stood behind, because I think 1 or 2 of the shots were in the back of the head. So I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot going on with it.
yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Gentlemen, if you want to make it a condition that he not have communication with Ms. Ovelis,
They have a child, he's gonna be locked up.
As to the extent that he needs to have contact
well,
with the child, that.
okay, well, there's some need for contact as far as their child. They have one child together.
Yes, sir. 2 years old.
So I'm not saying he can't have contact with her concerning that, but certainly not with respect to any of the allegations in the matter.
Okay.
So hang on, just let me have a seat here. I'm not finished yet. Listen, let me address Ms. Ovelis's bond situation.
Sir, you'll notice that from the factual recitation given by the ADA, her involvement is very limited. She was asked to rent a car, which is not illegal, and she was required by that rental contract to return that vehicle, which is not illegal. There were scarce, if any, mention of her involvement directly with Drummond, Brown, Thomas, as it related to any kind of three-way calling and getting phones and supplies and things of that nature. She is also a lifetime resident of Jackson. She has a CNA degree. She was working for RHA Medical at the time this all went down. She does have 2 children, not just the one with Mr. Thomas, a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old. Both her mom and dad live in Jackson. Her entire family lives in Jackson. She is not flight risk. She has no reason to be incarcerated from a mental or physical standpoint. She has strong ties to the community. She will be living with her parents.
Who's there
as
for
she's
her?
taking care of the children right now.
Are they here in court today?
They are not because of the children.
So she doesn't have any family here in court today. Oh, she does.
Friends showed up.
Just friends. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So we would ask a modest
Oof.
bond be set so she can get back to her children and try to get back to her life.
I tell people, you better bring anyone and everyone. Go rent some people off the street. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. But you got to have people that are going to stand up. They don't even have to say anything. All right.
Yeah, the court just needs to know that you have a support system there and that you have people that are going to hold you accountable for showing up to court. Because ultimately, remember, aside from the community safekeeping aspect of, not having somebody who's a danger to society out, the other part of it is ensuring that you're going to show up for court. Like those are the 2 aspects of it. So the average savage says, I mean, it's pretty much looking like he definitely did this, but I'll keep an open mind until more evidence comes out. Seems pretty clear though. So I would challenge you, the average savage, to explain to me, and obviously it's a guess from your perspective, but what is the motive here for Austin Drummond to have done this? He just got out after a year. These are people that he cares about. It's There's a baby there. There is. I am having a very, very difficult time finding any reason why Austin Drummond would have done this.
Not based on what we know thus far.
Yeah, and it's like that. You cannot discount this concept that he was an asset for multiple agencies.
And
Like
we're not saying that he didn't do it. We're just saying that there's no evidence right now to indicate any sort of motive, like Bob's saying. And there's just so many, bizarre facts and unknowns. And
I'm
definitely.
saying I'm treating him as he is innocent until proven guilty. And I see a lot of very strange that this isn't as clear cut as the media and the state would have you believe, is what's becoming very clear to me. Like these folks here, I think we're just homies. I think they were just homies, and like,
oh yeah,
Austin got into some shit and he's like, yo, I think that I might be fucked here. Like what the one thing that I don't hear any of these four people say in any of their statements is that Austin Drummond said, oh my God, I just wasted four people.
Right.
So, that's, and again, if you're in the position where it looks like you're being made to be a patsy, or even if you don't know that you're going to be a patsy and you've escaped this scene, this massacre somehow with the baby, you drop the baby off to safety and you're thinking, oh my God, like I was in the cars with these people. I'm the only one alive. I'm going to be the one that's going to go down for this. You probably think that it was in your best interest if you could get there and get in, if they haven't discovered the bodies yet, to go back and wipe away any trace that you were there. I mean, it would definitely be something that's going on in your mind. I mean, we all live in this
right,
world
but might
where
you
we know
also
that
be afraid to go back? I know you said it's
not after
later.
hours. No, after 12 hours, it's a calculated risk that I'm willing to take. Because if you're the killers,
6
why the
hours.
fuck would you be hanging around? It's way longer than that.
No.
When do they go back? When does he go back?
Around
1 in the
something.
afternoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6.
And he still has
Yeah,
the
about
baby at that point. Baby doesn't get dropped off until 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would take, like, why would the killers still be there? And the other part of it is, and here's the part that really gets you to start thinking. He goes back to clean. He's got the baby with him. If he was the one who committed these crimes and didn't have to get the fuck out of Dodge with a quickness with that baby, why didn't he just stay there and clean when he was there? That's the part I want you to think about.
Right. What did he have to go back for that he wouldn't have had time to get while he's moving all the bodies
It's
and
why
covering them up?
Why wouldn't he have cleaned up
when
he was there at 6:30 in the morning if he's the only one who was there and who was the only one that was alive and he's the one who did this? Why is he leaving with a quickness to get the fuck out of there and then going back 6 hours later?
Right.
Think about that.
Agreed.
If somebody's got a reasonable excuse for that or explanation, let me know in chat, because that's where my head's at with this case. You guys got to look at shit like past what the fucking media is telling you.
And we're not saying we're right. We're just saying this is what the evidence suggests.
Why do you keep apologizing? Like, I have serious doubts as to whether or not he.
Well, so do I.
So why do you have to? I don't need to like apologize to anybody. Could he be the guy who did it? 100%. 100%. Where I'm at right now, I'm nowhere near thinking that he's the guy who did this. I need to see a hell of a lot more evidence.
Yeah, me too.
So that's where I'm at.
All right, let's keep going.
General, does she have any prior criminal record? Ms. Ovelis?
Phone.
For the TBI, July 30th, 2025, possession of Schedule 6 and
You're gonna have to translate for us, Dan.
I couldn't hear it because you talked. I was going to.
Guess you'll have to rewind.
She is not a flight risk.
General, does she have any prior criminal record? Ms. Ovelis?
For the TBI, July 30th of 2025, possession of Schedule 6 and no period today. That's the police department. As far as I can tell,
I couldn't hear. It sounded like possession of something with intent and then something else from July 30th, 2025. And as far as he can tell, it's still pending.
that's still pending. And then from January 24th.
Hang on, because you said July 30th, 2025. He was charged with possession of marijuana with intent to sell or deliver.
And that, Your Honor, was a misdemeanor conviction in city court.
Okay, but she was charged with a felony on July 30th of this year, and then was she convicted recently in Jackson City Court?
That's what I'm being told. That's what I'm being told.
Did you plead guilty to that offense?
No. I'm recently to the case, Your Honor, so I'm relying on the suburb who was representing her at the time.
He was representing Ms. Ovelis at the time.
That's right.
And she pled guilty.
Your Honor, it says September 17th in Jackson City Court. That is her next court date.
So she's still currently charged with possession of marijuana with intent to sell or deliver
That is correct.
in Jackson City Court.
She appeared in court after making bond, and the case was reset to September 17th, I believe in the afternoon.
So when was she arrested initially and posted bond is what I'm asking.
I believe it was the 31st, I believe. I do not have that paperwork. I believe it was the 31st.
She believes it was August 31st, Your Honor.
July 3rd.
July 31st. Excuse me.
Was that the same time period that these murders allegedly occurred?
Yes.
Okay. Does she have any other prior criminal record?
I do also show from the TBI that January 24th, 2018, she was arrested by Jackson Police Department for Schedule 2 drug violations.
Schedule 2 drug violations. And driving on a revoked license, January.
And that was in 2018. Do you have any kind of disposition on those charges?
I wish I could bloop.
Why can't you bloop? Just because it's Facebook?
Misdemeanor charges.
I can just slide.
Those are Schedule 2 drugs, something other than marijuana. And, any other prior arrests or convictions?
She's showing how to use diversion at Madison County General Sessions Court.
Had a diversion?
So I don't know what that is.
When was that?
That was showing on the online site, there's a simple possession charge.
Simple possession.
November 25th,
2014.
So a misdemeanor diversion charge, November 2014, on simple possession. Doesn't say what controlled substance.
I think it was diversion.
Yeah, that should be taken off the record.
That conviction in 2014, another conviction in 2018 out of Jackson City Court, possession of drugs, and then the most recent arrest for possession of marijuana with intent to sell or deliver, which apparently that's still pending.
That may be related to the items that
I think it's related to items that were found in the apartment, when they searched the apartment.
When did they search? Do you know the apartment she was living in at the time?
Her, the Thomas was sharing.
Where was the apartment?
It was at 160 Cloverdale, 165 Cloverdale in Madison County.
So those are, I guess, other pending charges beside what she's been indicted for. What the state have a recommendation for bond as far as Ms. Ovelis?
Our first situation is different than Mr. Thomas. The state would recommend
$30,000.
They're only asking for 30,000 for her.
That's acceptable, Your Honor.
All right, well, with respect to Ms. Ovelis and determining the amount of bail necessary to reasonably assure the court of her appearance in court, and also at the same time protecting the safety of the public, the court considers a length of residence in the community. Has she lived her entire life?
She was born in California, but moved here as a child and has been here ever since.
Since when? How long has she been in Madison County?
Over 30 years, Your Honor. She's 31 now.
Born in California, so did she move here with her parents or something?
Yes, Your Honor.
So she's been here.
So the whole family, I think, moved over here.
In what year?
Sorry.
When did they move here in Madison County?
All I have in my notes is 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
So that, 30 years ago.
Okay.
The fuck?
And so I do consider the length of residence here in the community, her employment status, and she says she's currently working. All right. And you said she does have some family here. She has 2 children.
Yes, Your Honor. A 10 and a 2-year-old.
And of course, she does have this prior criminal record, which has been talked about. I have to consider that.
Oh, please.
Protecting the safety of the public.
Oh, my God.
Obviously, again, she's charged with accessory after the fact, both the first-degree murder and also accessory after the fact of aggravated kidnapping. Of course, according to the statements she did make several statements, which apparently would indicate some knowledge of the homicide and also knowledge of the aggravated kidnapping. So I do find that the apparent probability of conviction is likely.
That was after.
To consider a prior criminal
What?
history.
Pull your head out of your ass, Judge.
On this case, that there was drugs found in the apartment and it was a search warrant that was executed.
I think it was part of the search with Mr. Drummond, and that's how it came down.
So apparently law enforcement got a search warrant, went to the apartment and found marijuana there, which she'd been charged.
Oh, no, marijuana?
As well.
Oh, weed. Ooh. Ooh.
Okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Thomas was not charged in city court with giving his
And she consented to the search of the apartment.
Okay. All right. So she apparently consented to the search of the apartment, and I'm assuming since she's been charged with possession of marijuana with intent to sell or deliver, the police department located some type of illegal controlled substance there. So they take that into consideration, whether or not that poses a risk of danger to the community, which it does. Consider that. So I'm going to set her bond at $100,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Reasonable bond considering her situation.
Well, I think he was like, how can I give the other guy 250 and her 30?
Again, I do find that there's some pretty close ties between her and Mr. Thomas, according to what the state's proved, because they both were involved both prior to and allegedly after the homicides out of Lake County. So I'm taking all that into consideration. So I'm going to set her bond at $100,000. Okay. Thank you.
Wow.
All right, so now let's
The state asked
back
for
to,
30.
Ms. Sanders, you're at certain bond situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't come again as far as Ms. Dearrah Sanders. I guess it's very wise as well. So.
Yes, sir. On July 30th, 2025, the arrest warrants were issued by the Austin Drummond for first-degree murder, 4 separate counts, aggravated kidnapping, and unlawful possession of weapons, felony all occurring in Lake County, Mississippi. On that same day, the United States Marshal Service attempted to apprehend Drummond at an AT&T store in Jackson, Tennessee. Drummond evaded officers at that time, fled the scene, and eluded the marshals. Drummond was placed on a Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
All right, so they went to an AT&T store. Drummond eluded them. So their warrant was out. Drummond eluded them at this AT&T store.
Press releases were posted on PBS.
There were press releases that he was a fugitive.
Social media page
On July 31st
by 11:21 a.m.
at 11:21 a.m.
On August 3rd, 2025, KD Speed contacted Assistant Special Agent in Charlotte.
On August 3rd, 2025, Caitlin Speed. Now that's his girlfriend. That's the sister of Courtney Rose.
And former correction officer in the prison.
Right. In the prison where he was
incarcerated.
Yep.
John Chu, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, to report that Drummond had called her from a cell phone number, and then when she heard his voice, she hung up the phone.
So she reported that Drummond called her from a cell phone number. When she heard his voice, she hung up the phone. Caitlin Speed.
Also reported that he texted her afterwards.
She also reported that he texted her afterwards.
The FBI Special Agent Carla Rexon reviewed the information related to identify the cell phone number that was used. Mr. Drummond was captured on August 5th, 2025, in the area at 15 Wynwood Drive here in Jackson, County. The Jackson Police Department TBI conducted a ground search of the area where he was located. While attempting to discover where that cell phone number that was used to call Miss Speed, it was located or determined through the investigation that that phone had been purchased at a Walmart located at 2171 South Highland Avenue here in Jackson, Madison County, Tennessee, with a receipt from July 31st, 2025.
Okay, so when they arrested him, they searched for that cell phone that called Caitlin Speed. They found the cell phone. The cell phone was purchased at a Walmart at different time on July 31st, 2025.
And who's up? Is this Dearrah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said he was going to give information, I think, on Dearrah and Erik Wise, but we'll see.
Evening hours with the purchase of the cell phone as well as other items.
So, and it was the evening hours with the purchase of the cell phone and other items. So they're establishing it's after this press release.
Drug investigation special agents confirmed that the male individual on video purchasing the item,
The male individual,
was Erik Wise Jr.
Erik Wise Jr.,
Female identified from the video as Dearrah Sanders.
along with the female Dearrah Sanders.
With Mr. Thomas and Ms. Ovelis, Mr. Wise and Ms. Sanders are in a relationship.
Well, you screwed that up. The relation. He said, like Tanaka, Tanaka.
Thomas
Like
and
Thomas. That's right. Like Thomas
and
and
Ovelis.
Ovelis, that these two are okay. I thought he said Tanaka Brown. Okay. That they're Sanders and Wise are in a relationship.
While reviewing the records from Walmart, other purchases were made in the same time frame by these
While reviewing the purchases from Walmart, other products were purchased at the same time.
individuals. A total of 23 items were purchased at that.
A total of 23 items.
The purchase was an OG duffel bag for $32.27.
A duffel bag for $32.
A review of video confirmed that the Ozark Trails duffel bag matched the duffel bag that was
Ozark Trails duffel bag, which matched the duffel bag they found on Drummond.
located by special agents with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation in the area where Mr. Drummond was arrested.
In the area where he was arrested.
Sanders was interviewed by agents.
Sanders was interviewed.
July 30th, 2025. She was with her boyfriend, Erik Wise.
She was with her boyfriend, Erik Wise.
When McMullen received a call from Drummond.
McMullen received a call from Drummond. Sanders reported she went to Walmart to purchase 2 cell phones and 2 phone cards for Drummond. She also reported they went and picked him up and went to her residence. Drummond stayed at her residence until August 2nd. Sanders reported she purchased Drummond clothes and food while staying at her residence. She did not stay there with him. Drummond also offered her money, and she did not accept it. After Drummond left, she was starting to remove his clothes and personal belongings from her apartment. She says that she did not originally know.
She said that she learned he was actually Mr. Drummond on Friday morning, August 1st.
Oh, she didn't even know. All right, wait a second. She didn't know he was Austin Drummond. She thought he was Chris. Hold on.
She did not stay there with him. Drummond also offered her money to stay there, but she did not accept it. Sanders explained that after Drummond left, she was instructed to remove his clothes and his personal belongings from her apartment. Sanders said that she did not initially know his name, but as Chris.
She didn't.
She said that she learned he was actually Mr. Drummond on Friday morning, August 1st.
So prior to that, she only knew him as Chris. She didn't know he was Austin Drummond until after he moved out, and she learned that on August 1st.
But she did continue to let him stay at her apartment until he left.
But she did continue to let him stay at her apartment until he left on August 2nd.
Saturday, August 3rd.
Oh, 3rd.
You said she made statements that she let Mr. Drummond stay at her apartment during that time period.
Even after she learned who he was, while he was one of the most wanted individuals.
One of the most wanted individuals in America.
That's her statement to the law enforcement.
Based on that, we would argue that the likelihood of conviction of she doesn't probably.
Based on that,
You said she had purchased
strong
at
likelihood
the
of
request
conviction.
Mr. Drummond's 2 cell phones and what other items you said she purchased.
Her and Mr. Wise purchased the 2 cell phones as well as a duffel bag that was found hidden in the area where Mr. Drummond was taken into custody by Jackson Police Department.
Now, does Ms. Sanders, does she have any prior criminal record?
She does. She was set a $30,000 bond in Lake County. She was originally charged over there. Her prior criminal history includes an arrest on August 17th of 2023 by Jackson Police Department.
Arrest August 2022. Violation of probation.
June 26th of 2022.
June 2022.
Both in Madison County for a failure to appear.
Failure to appear.
And March 16th of 2022.
March 2022.
Charged by Jackson Police Department with theft of property. She also has a
Theft of property. And I think it lengthy driving history.
You say lengthy driving history, what do you mean?
That's the extent of information I have from the FBI at this time. They advised me she has.
Like driving on a suspended license or something, or what?
I wouldn't feel confident in saying more than minor traffic offenses based on my information.
Minor traffic
You said
offenses.
she had a failure to appear in June of 2022 out of Jackson City Court.
The FDA was June of 2022.
Out of Jackson City Court.
It says Madison County, so I'm going to say Madison County.
Sessions. And then you said, I guess the most recent was a violation of probation in August 2023. Was that on I guess, 11 months, 29-day sentence?
I believe so. I think that's probably going to be for the theft of property in 2022. That's the only other case I see out of Jackson City Court. So I don't know what she was on probation.
Does it show that she a lifetime resident of Madison County, or you know?
I'm not positive about her. I'll let Ms. Ashley know.
All right, let's Cash, let me hear from you.
Yes, sir. First of all, Your Honor, the theft arrest that the general mentioned, that was a shoplifting out of Walmart. I represented her on that. She was cleared by TBI for diversion. So at that time, she had no other misdemeanors or higher. She tells me that the extensive driving history that was referred to are a few speeding tickets. As far as I'm aware, Your Honor, the diversion was completed successfully, and I believe the expungement should have been processed by TBI. I will check on that. For the failure to appear, Judge, I believe that was on a report back to city court on how she was doing on probation. There was a death in her family, and she thought she was excused from court. She got that straightened out with city court, and that failure to appear was lifted. Judge, in this case, she was initially charged in Lake County. Her mother called me immediately, got me on board. After speaking with General Goodman and the head special agent in charge of the TBI on this, Ms. Sanders' bond was set at $25,000. Mr. Robert McKinley made that bond. I have spoken with him. He is willing to stay on the Sanders bond. Judge, she's lived here her whole life. She has 2 minor children, ages 1 and 6. Currently, she's 6 months pregnant, and she has been having some renal failure, for which her doctor is watching her very closely. She has a very strong support system here. If you are here with her, would you stand? And Judge, she's 23 years old, and she maintains full-time employment at InCare, which is a healthcare service located here, and they are holding her job. After speaking with the general, I don't believe that he has any objection to the same bond that was given to her in Lake County.
Well, this judge isn't going to do it.
Further with respect to Ms. Sanders?
No, Your Honor.
All right, well, again, with respect to this defendant, the court does consider the amount in determining whether or not it would appear that she would appear back in court at the time. The court will give her here in just a few minutes. I do have some concern. Apparently, she does have one prior failure to appear out of Jackson City Court.
Come on.
22. So I certainly consider that. I consider her length of residence here in Madison County. Apparently, she's lived here pretty much her entire life.
Correct.
Correct. You do consider her employment status. I'm being told she does have a job that she could return to at some point. I do consider her family ties. And what other family does she have here?
Judge, she has her mother, her grandmother, her father, stepfather, and a close father figure. She has an unusual situation in which her natural mother gave her up for adoption, but was still a part of her life. So she has several.
Okay. So she does have some family ties here in Madison County. Of course, as far as the defendant's reputation, character, mental condition, I consider that as well. Her prior criminal record, apparently she does have a prior misdemeanor theft of property shoplifting conviction out of Jackson City Court. Apparently she was being told, may have been granted diversion originally, but then I'm being told she had a violation of probation, which would indicate that she was convicted at some point. Probation got violated at some point, which the state says they have records showing that August 17th, 2023, her probation got violated for some reason. I'm not sure exactly what the violation was for, but I do have to consider that prior criminal history. I do consider the nature of these offenses, which again, she's charged with accessory after the fact of first degree murder, accessory after the fact of aggravated kidnapping involving a small child. So certainly the nature of the offenses are serious. I do consider the apparent probability of conviction, which I think is very high.
Very high. Sure.
Based upon the statements that she's made to law enforcement indicating that she did in fact have contact with Mr. Austin Drummond, that she was asked to purchase cell phones and duffel bags, which apparently she did, knowing that he had allegedly committed first degree murder and aggravated kidnapping, that she did provide some substantial assistance to Mr. Drummond's after the fact. So I do consider that. And I do find that she does pose a risk of danger to the community because of the fact that she's willing to assist, according to the state's evidence, willing to assist an individual who was wanted for multiple homicides, that she did provide some substantial assistance after the fact. So I'm going to set her bond at $100,000.
Ooh, 150.
Appropriate bond under the circumstances in this case. And I do consider the fact that she did fail to appear previously in court. So,
jeez, Your Honor.
$150,000.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Now, let me address Mr. Wise now. General, tell me again what statements he may have made.
Your Honor, Mr. Wise did not make a substantial statement in the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. He was interviewed just like Ms. Sanders. He stated the special agent did, when he was interviewed, he did not have any knowledge of knowing who Drummond was, not helping Drummond. He also reported that he did not want to talk to agents until
in this case. And
Drummond. He also
again, what statements he may have made.
Your Honor, Mr. Wise did not make a substantial statement in the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. He was interviewed just like Ms. Sanders. He stated the special agent did, when he was interviewed, he did not have any knowledge of knowing who Drummond was, denied helping Drummond.
Denied knowing enough
He also
Drummond was
did not want to talk to agents
or helping.
until Dearrah Sanders was there.
And he didn't.
He would know what she was saying.
He didn't
However, again,
want to talk until
Mr. Wise was on video with Ms. Sanders.
he didn't want to talk until Miss Dearrah Sanders was there so that he knew that she was safe. So he denied helping and really wouldn't talk.
At Walmart, purchasing both the two cell phones.
But he's on video purchasing the items at Walmart.
While he was being, while people were searching for him to arrest him, and he was also found with the duffel bag that Mr. Wise purchased for him.
Where's this guy's lawyer? He's on his own?
You said there is video evidence showing him purchasing these items, a duffel bag and cell phones?
That's correct. The TBI recovered the video from the Walmart showing him and his singers selecting and purchasing the items.
Before, oh no, it was on social media. Okay.
Let's see, does Mr. Wise have any prior criminal record?
Your Honor, Mr. Wise in particular is actually presently on probation out of your court for aggravated domestic assault.
On probation for aggravated domestic assault.
January 29th of last year.
January 2024. Sentenced to
3 years of placed on probation.
3 years.
So
Placed on probation
he was
for
actually
3
on
years.
probation for aggravated assault at the time this happened out of this courtroom, and a violation of probation warrant, I believe, has been issued.
Violation of probation warrant's been issued as of yesterday.
Violation of probation in that case, based on these new charges.
So he's currently on a 3-year probated sentence while he's aggravated assault.
That's correct, Your Honor. In addition to that, he does have a prior arrest out of Madison County in June 26th of 2022.
June 2022. Failure to appear.
In March of 2022.
March 2022.
For theft.
Theft.
By Jackson Police Department. And February 6th of 2019.
February 2019.
he was arrested by Jackson Police Department for
Driving without a license.
You said the prior failure to appear. Tell me again, when was that?
That was on June 26th of 2022.
June of 2022.
Which court was that in?
I believe that's going to be at a general session.
You're gonna get it.
Then you say a probation violation warrant had recently been signed. Ms. Wise, I know I'd asked you earlier, you understand your constitutional rights, you understand what you're charged with. Are you going to be able to hire a lawyer to represent you, or do you know?
I was hoping that I'd be able to get out so I can keep my job going.
Where are you working currently?
I work for Madison Haywood.
Madison Haywood Development?
Yes, sir.
What do you do for them?
I sit with people.
You sit with people?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I
How long have you been
sit
employed there?
people.
2 years in there.
Okay. You have any family here in Madison County?
Yes, sir.
What family do you have here?
I'm on the grandma here.
That's your mom, your grandmother. Who's the other lady?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. No children?
yes, sir. I got 3.
How old are your children?
6, 2, and a couple months, like 5 months.
Do they live with you, or do they live with someone else?
Not at the moment, no, sir. But I get them though.
Do they live with their mothers?
Yes, sir, but I get them, get them.
But you're not, they don't primarily live with you.
I've never seen this.
Said something about you're currently on probation. It's a 3-year sentence.
Yes, sir.
Like I've never seen them not assign a public defender, at least for the purposes of the bond call. Like what's happening here?
Yeah, that's weird. He's just standing up there like solo.
Right. No. Usually, I mean, every state that I've been in, they automatically will give you, even if you've got money, they're going to give you, because you didn't have time to get a lawyer typically at your bond call. They're going to appoint you a lawyer for the purposes of the bond call. Then if you need, a trial lawyer, that's a different thing. But all right.
Have they served the violation of probation warrant on you yet?
No, sir. And you can ask my probation. I've been doing everything.
Who is your probation officer?
Miss Willis.
Mr. Willis.
Yes, sir.
Joe, you say a warrant's been issued, but it hasn't been served on it yet, I guess.
I can't buy the court.
All right, well, again, in determining what would be an appropriate bail amount for this defendant, Mr. Wise, I do consider whether or not he would appear in court. I also consider the protecting the safety of the public. I consider the length of his residence here, which apparently you live in Madison County pretty much your entire life?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Of course, I do consider his employment status. He tells me he does have a job, has been working. Consider his family ties. I do consider his prior criminal record. Also, whether or not he would appear in court. And I believe they said you had a failure to appear back in 2022. Were you arrested on a failure to appear?
Yes, sir. They just, I forgot it was.
Was that in general sessions court or?
I think it was a city.
In city court?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it does have a prior failure to appear, which the court takes that into consideration. I consider the nature of these offenses. Again, he's charged with providing assistance to Mr. Austin Drummond, who's been charged with multiple homicides out of Lake County. I do consider also that, in addition to the nature of the offenses, the apparent probability of conviction. Being told this defendant has shown on video surveillance camera purchasing cell phones and duffel bags for Mr. Drummond, and that those items were later recovered.
The phone was the same phone that was used to call his girlfriend, Erik Steve, while he was being, while officers were looking for him. And then the duffel bag was found close to Mr. Drummond when he was taking custody on that.
So I do consider the apparent probability of conviction to be very high given those circumstances.
And those circumstances was that the phone that he purchased was used to call Caitlin, and when Austin Drummond was arrested, the bag that they bought was found in the vicinity.
The defendant's prior criminal record, the fact that he's currently on probation for an aggravated assault. Of course, if a violation warrant's been issued, then obviously that'll be served on him as well. So I do consider all that, and I do consider his ties to the community. So I'm, based upon the probability of conviction and based upon his prior criminal history, which includes the failure to appear,
I'm going to see.
I'm going to set his bond at $250,000.
I'm going to see if I can find out what happened today for Tanaka Brown.
This guy's fucking dropping the hammer.
I had pointed out on that charge. Can't report every time you did it.
Which charge of that? Oh, you're talking about the one you've been convicted of?
Yes, sir.
The aggravated assault?
Yes, sir.
Well, I will say this, if the warrant's been issued, obviously the court will have to address the violation of probation matter as soon as the paperwork's returned to the court. I've not received that back, but obviously he's going to be held on the violation of probation warrant. Of course, he'll have a $250,000 bond set in this matter. So, now, are you going to be able to hire a lawyer?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to set a court date for all of these defendants. Do you think you may hire a lawyer at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, especially if you were able to post the $250,000 bond, I would think you would have the resources to hire a lawyer as well. So, all right. So let me give each of these defendants another appearance date. I don't know. I assume is there a lot of discovery materials involved in the case?
I anticipate there will be a lot of discovery because this involves the case of Mr. Drummond, the guy investigated. I know that's probably going to be a fairly substantial amount.
All right. What if I set an appearance day for November the 3rd for each of these defendants? Does that work? For Mr. Bird and Ms. Free, November 3rd at 8:30 a.m.
I can't figure that morning. I couldn't figure that.
1:30. Are y'all available at 1:30? Mr. Boyd, are you available?
I am not going to have a motion hearing pending in front of the attack.
On a civil matter? Well, we can take this up first. I mean, Judge Atkins is next door. I don't know. It won't take a minute to walk across the hallway there. So I'm going to set the next court appearance for each of these defendants on Monday, November the 3rd at 1:30 in the afternoon. That should give each of the attorneys time to get all the discovered materials from the District Attorney General's office, give them time to go over those discovery materials with their clients. And then I assume is the state going to make a plea offer at some point?
we'll be in talks. There's got to be conversations that I have to have, victims as
Sure.
well as, who they like,
Sure.
there'll be some.
Well, I'll set that November 3rd at 1:30 as a plea cutoff day. But again, I'm going to give the defense attorney
Wow.
whatever time they need to.
Plea cutoff date.
That day, okay?
Shit.
So each of the defendants understand we'll have you back here in court, or if you post bond and get released, then obviously you need to be back here in court on November 3rd at 1:30 in the afternoon. Okay. All right. Now, with respect to Mr. Wise, if you're not able to hire a lawyer, I'm going to set you another day here in just about 30 days. And if you're not able to hire an attorney, then I will certainly consider appointing a public defender.
Yes, sir. How about it will be able to do that?
Well, I'm going to give you another court date before that November date. Okay.
Right. So
Let me
less
put
than a
you
month.
back on our docket
Oh,
for-
it's September. Okay.
let's see, I'll set him on October the 6th.
I will be out of town that week, but I'm sure General Floyd, General Craig.
Well, let me set it before then. Let me set it maybe September the 29th. Do you think you'll know between now and September 29th you're going to be able to hire a lawyer?
How about I get the probation or
Well, we'll probably have to address that probably on September 29th.
Why
So
don't you
let's
just roll it into
set
the
this
bond?
At 8:30 a.m. on September 29th. I'll set Mr. Wise that date because I'm assuming if the violation warrant's already been issued, they'll get that served on you probably this week.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll put you on that day for that probation matter as well, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so anything further on this case? All right, thank you. So they can all, I guess, be taken back downstairs to the jail. And I will, again, make it a special condition of the bond that they not communicate with the other co-defendants concerning the matter, and certainly not travel outside the state of Tennessee if they post bond. They cannot leave the state without court permission, okay? All right, anything further? And the General Fielders prepare those orders. Okay, thank you.
All right. Maybe we're done.
Building
Because somebody else.
by consent law.
All right.
This is a re-indict.
All right. And the court told me I have to call back at like 1 o'clock. It was a very long docket today. So. there you
So
have it.
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
I want to talk about some of these. Well, first, what do you say to Zoe's mom?
Family hug. Welcome.
And then Isabel Park said, "Hi guys, a bit confused, but we'll stay with it. Glitching problems when trying to comment." Well, hopefully no one else was having that problem. Sorry about that. So you've got Brianna CC. She says, if there is an accessory, couldn't they turn against him as state's witness? Any hint co-defendants will cooperate? I mean, based on what they've said so far, they've cooperated as much as they can. Unless they knew more and they're lying. The fear is, do you get somebody to say something not true because they're facing so much time on this? And that's a scary proposition. But now, Eris, I'm going to say scare.
I think it's Aries.
Aries, this one scares me a little bit. Why do you think Tanaka isn't being charged as a co-conspirator? I'm convinced he knew what was going on prior. They probably can't prove that, though. So Aries, is that what we're saying, Aries?
Aries. I get the sense that she's from down around that way. Like, as she had said something earlier, and I had asked why she thought that, and she said that,
okay. So she's got some additional
I can't say
knowledge.
that for certain, but it kind of seems like she might be from the area, like around the area.
I was just going to say, based on what we've heard, how could you be convinced someone knew about it prior? How could you be convinced that if the person is Austin Drummond, that he planned it beforehand? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's if you
convinced.
start digging into the facts of the case as we know them, where they stand right now, even in a light most favorable to the state, I have some real problems with
Yeah,
this
I'm not
case.
convinced of shit.
There is shit that does not make any sense to me. Again, somebody give me a motive. Why would he have done this? Or like what would have been the cause of that? My biggest problem is the fact that he, for whatever reason, if he's the guy who did this, he's got the baby with him. He's the only one there. If he was concerned about cleaning up and
Or
leaving no
getting
trace,
items, whatever it was.
or leaving no trace that he was there, it makes no sense to me why he would come back with the baby still and do the cleaning then.
You're saying do the cleaning at the scene. We don't know that it wasn't a picking up items that were left behind and or cleaning. All we know is the trunk was open and then
Well, I mean, the cars had been cleaned.
well, no. So the truck that left with the baby went to Bikini Bottoms, and that was cleaned at Bikini Bottoms. Then in the rental, they claim he went back to the scene around 1:00, 1 something in the afternoon, and that's when either more cleaning and or picking up of we don't know what happened there, but something. Your point still remains. Why would he go back? Why wouldn't he have taken the time he needed right then to either clean or to grab whatever he was going back for? If he
I
was
mean,
there.
the only reasonable explanation as to why he would have dipped himself is if he was concerned that somebody had heard the gunshots. But, you know, I don't know. You know, to me,
there's
that just doesn't that part of it's not adding up. And when you think about if in fact, and I forget who put up the comment, I can't remember if I started, but if in fact this was an inside job, meaning that people in law enforcement and or correctional officers, whoever was on the inside caught wind of the fact, or if law enforcement's involved in any capacity, they catch wind of the fact that Drummond is an informant for agencies that are obviously not making those folks privy to the fact that he's an informant, and he gets made the way that a Patsy situation has to work is, if you're wondering why they would have left Drummond alive, you have to have somebody else alive, because otherwise they're going to be looking inwards potentially. So you needed to have a Patsy who somehow survived it. If you're the cops and you've said, you know what, we're going in, or whoever it is, for whatever reason, if it's related to the informant side of it, and they're like, we're about to put this shit down. We're gonna nip this in the bud right here. Nobody's fucking up our lives. They kill these 4 people, and the plan is always dependent on Austin Drummond because he's a perfect patsy. He's got all the things that you'd ever want, on top of the fact that he's a rat. I mean, the Patsy situation doesn't work if everybody at the scene is killed, because what that means is there's a much larger investigation than what took place here. Essentially, they landed on Drummond immediately, and it was 7 days of trying to track him down. So there wasn't a massive investigation going on in this case. They basically got the phone data. They're like, all right, this is the dude. I mean,
Right.
it was like
Sloopy
the
says,
easiest
they'll
breadcrumb
believe us
trail.
before they believe this troubled drug addict. But
Felon.
Mange 1967, I can't lie, this feels weird. Hi, Cupcake. But she makes a good point. There is no way he was gonna clean. He thinks he has the ace in his back pocket as an informant and can try and control the narrative by being the only one there. I mean, it's a theory.
It's a theory. I don't know. The problem with being an informant, especially if it's a Friday, like, so we know, I think I heard at least he claimed the feds, but he also said TBI, which is the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. And I think he named one other agency. The problem with assets is that they'll almost never admit that somebody was an asset, the agencies. So, whether that's why I'm saying Austin Drummond's phone becomes very, very important in terms of what information may be on there regarding his claims that he was in fact an informant, because Mary RN, I don't know what part of it you think makes him think he would have an ace up his sleeve because he was an informant. You know what I'm saying?
If he thought like I can shift this narrative. I've got this informant thing in my back pocket. I'm going with that. I don't know. That's so. Mermaid Mary RN says, "Hi Bob and Allie. Did you get my email/info regarding David Finnerty? Good law enforcement officer in Massachusetts, scapegoated, unjustly convicted. I think Aiden is going to write about it soon."
I did.
All right.
It sounds interesting, by the way, Mary.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we have for our update on this. We're, closely monitoring it. And
more to come. More to come. It's too bad it's gagged. It's like it would be interesting to get down there and try to chat with some locals, see what the word on the street is.
Yeah.
See who knows.
Got to get to Kentucky first.
Yeah, sure do. For
Aaron Spencer.
All right. We will be back tomorrow. I've been working on do they have enough to convict Wendy Adelson live, where we will trying to pull out all the evidence that we've heard from not only Wendy's testimony, but obviously her interview with law enforcement. Obviously, we've got Jeff Lacasse and the things that he said. And I want to look at it. I want to see, in light of the fact that they now have convicted 2 of the family members, which I think bolsters any kind of claim against Wendy.
Do you think Dad might be next?
If I'm Georgia,
people are tired of everybody but Wendy.
Yeah, people want Wendy. So we're gonna look at it. And I hope that we're real active in chat. I know that there's those that are adamant, and I'm not. It's never been. Do I think that it's a situation where Wendy wasn't involved? No, obviously, to me, the common sense thing is Occam's razors, that she benefited the most. So clearly she knew about it. She just didn't have a hand in the actual planning and paying for it, but she clearly knew about it. She sanctioned it. She's the head of the snake.
So crazy.
So, the problem from my perspective is that we look at it from the attorney side. Do they have enough evidence is what it is. And, it's one of those situations where
I think there's not a jury they can find in the world that won't convict any Adelson they put in front of them.
100%. And that's what I'm saying. When the dominoes,
right or wrong, true or false.
Right. And that's why I'm saying that the dominoes of Charlie and Donna going down, really bolster their case, because it's an easy sell. I heard some of the interview that the foreperson of the jury did with her TikTok, and she's all about Wendy going down. So it's
on the horizon. People, keep an eye out. We're working on it.
Yep.
Thank you for being here with us.
We love you guys so much. Thank you, mods, for all your hard work.
Don't forget before you leave.
Tracy and Mandy.
Yes, minimize the chat. Just hit that little X and then click the thumbs up.
Yeah, and more than that, more than just liking, you've got to subscribe. You've got to share us out. It really helps grow the channel. It's free to do. It's a nice little thing that you can do to try to help the channel grow. We're obviously, putting out what we think is pretty good content. Share the love.
Yeah, we're still at 57,000. Come on, people.
I know, it's crazy. We've been on.
Get your neighbors, get your friends. Click subscribe on their phones.
2.5 weeks. We've been stuck on 57,000. crazy that we haven't hit 60 yet. To me, like I watch other content. There's some really good content out there, but like we're right there with it. And I'm talking about some of the bigger shows. So we think we bring value. We think we bring entertainment. We think we bring knowledge. We think we educate you. We do all the things.
All the things.
So and Allison's super pretty and super smart. So you got those two things. All right. We love you all. Thank you again, mods. Thank you, Tracy and Mandy specifically. Thank you, all of you that have donated today for the cause. We always appreciate that. And just remember, without y'all, I'm just an old man.
Sitting around talking to his wife.